Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. We got an outstanding show for you tonight. But before I begin, tomorrow and throughout the weekend, tomorrow uh, an amazing soccer show, our World Cup 2022 preview. Listen to this. Myself, Giancarlo Lino, the Hall of Famer John Freeman Nelson of OSG Sports, the coach Carmen Asako, broadcasting legend Alf de Blasis, and a Team Canada player we'll tell you about either later tonight or tomorrow morning, all on the soccer show, 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. Plus, tomorrow, Femme Friday, we got female programming later on in the day. Saturday pre and post Maple Leafs Forever. Sunday, good friend Andy McNamara with the Ultimate Fantasy Football Show at 10 a.m. And then Sunday night, we begin World Cup Day 1. Each and every day, we'll do post game of all the games in the World Cup with myself, Carmen, John Freeman Nelson, and a cast of thousands. And Monday, we'll have midday update plus our World Cup update. But here is a worldwide exclusive interview with the coach of York University's men's and ladies soccer team, Carmen Asako. We talk about Team Canada and the World Cup. Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek and welcome to the Fired Up Network and welcome to the World Cup update with the one and only, the greatest coach I ever seen, Carmen Asako. Give me $5, Carmen. Give me $5.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna start with the World Cup coverage like crazy. No other independent company will have World Cup updates but Fired Up Network. Friday, 11:30, we're gonna have a World Cup preview to end our World Cup previews. We're waiting on word. Maybe we have a player, but we're trying to get more media types. And each and every day during the World Cup, we'll do a probably 20 to 30 minutes segment discussing the matches. But I got Carmen Asako on because Team Canada announced their team yesterday. Carm, let's talk about it. And one glaring guy who's not playing. And are you surprised that Deion Henry is not playing?
Yeah, Daniil Henry unfortunately got hurt. Um, but for sure, Daniil will be traveling with the team because he's the heart and soul of that group. Just a selfless human being. Probably gave up his spot. From the reports that I'm hearing, he gave up his spot so someone healthier could go. But I mean, Daniil Henry as a human being, as a Canadian national team player, has been just fantastic. I mean, and this selection isn't just about what they do on the field; it's also what they do off the field. And Daniil being with the team, and he'll definitely be in Qatar with the group, will be incredibly important to the young guys, Kamal Millers and the Alistair Johnsons of the world and the Adekubis. I think that he'll be pretty much the emotional coach, the psychological stabilizer, and I think that he'll be there in he'll be there physically, but he'll be an important role on how they grow and how they do well at this World Cup.
All right, before we start looking forward to this year's, let's look back at 1986 when you were a young pup. When what were you? 14, 15? I was 12. All right, 1986 in Mexico, first time Canada goes into the World Cup. Take me through because you were playing, you were starting up your career there and all that. Your thoughts. Take us through your head, your thoughts then to now because we have uh, internet, we have everything, phones that talk to us, phones, apps. We have the Fired Up Network. Can you equate how different 1986 was to 2022?
I mean, absolutely. The Canadian soccer culture was based on those guys in '86, and it's very similar. The type of players that they have there, as far as determination and heart and just quality. The heart and soul of that group were the Dale Mitchells of the world, the Paul Jameses of the world, and the Paul Dolan and the Tito Lettieri. and the Leonard Duzis of the world. Like this group was just full of passion and sacrifice. And it's similar to what the recipe was to get this team here. Obviously led by two incredible coaches at the time. It was oh my God, Tony Waiters, who I had coached me with the Olympic team as well, and just a prepared, organized, passionate human being. And you look at the same qualities that John Herdman had: prepared, passionate human being. Obviously, his supporting staff wasn't as big as John, and John has a lot of access to resources that Tony never had. But it's a similar group. And it's just the values, and after all these years, the values and mores that got this group to the World Cup haven't really changed. I mean, you look at the profiles of the Kamal Millers and the Alistair Johnson, the Stevie Victorias. They match the Bruce Wilsons of the world, and just the relentless sacrifice of this group is incredible. And we have some quality players. I mean, back then they had the Igor Vrablik, who was probably one of the superstars of Canadian games and playing at a top level in Europe as well. Now we also have Alphonso Davies, who's different level. But, the similarities of 86, to 2022 are for me, who knows these players that did what they did back in 86, are incredibly similar. And it's incredible that if they had an incredible mentality. And I remember, as a young man, cheering when I thought that free kick went in, and jumping up and down. And I remember Bobby Leonarduzzi missing that sitter inside the 6 against France, and Paul Dolan standing on his head, save after save against France as an 18, 19-year-old. These were images that will stay with me my whole life. And we've seen the same images with Boyan and with Davies and with Buchanan,
jumping in the snow.
Obviously different era, but so many similarities.
So I'm going to ask you, I'll point blank ask you, 1986, 2022, which team is better?
Different era, different world. I mean, obviously the athleticism and the technical ability is not night and day, but I think the 2022 group is a little bit quicker, a little bit more technical, and the game's evolved so much, and evolved to the point where the athletes like Tejan Buchanan and Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David, this new game suits them incredibly well. So I mean, it's hard to compare apples to oranges, but the one thing that we should compare is that passion. They both had that passion. They both had that desire to succeed. They both have that, and that's the most important ingredient that I think that brings these two teams eerily similar.
So I know you're not going to say it. I'll say it. I'm the president of Provinces of Canada. All right, they will score a goal this time around. They will score a goal, and hell, I'll go through. They will win a game. They will win a game. And by the way, honestly, when you hear the Canadian national anthem, especially for you, because I know sit back because you don't take credit. One of the guys who gets the players where they are today, from 1986 to now, and continue on, because I'm going to say this. Nobody else will say this. You're going to be counted on to get them through to 2026 and improve on 2022. That's Carmen Asako here. But let me ask you, when they play the Canadian national anthem, because your life, whatever, 70 years old, like I joke around, all right? When you watch Canada in the world stage, especially you being Italian and Italy not there, okay, will a tear go down your face when they play the Canadian national anthem, and especially when they win a game?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I've been lucky to be a big part of situations in Canadian soccer, whether it was the MLS first game on the bench with TFC or the CPL first game, and those for me were emotional moments because of whether directly or indirectly, whether as a fan or as a coach or as a player, I've been part of a lot of situations, and I've had the pleasure to coach most of these guys, whether it was Pan Am games, whether it was in the club system, the university system. It's and yes, I mean, it'll be a massive emotional situation for me because I'm so close to a lot of these players and watch them grow, and it's so much pride that a lot of these players came out of Ontario, came out of Vaughan and our world, whether it was Missouri with Cavallini and Vittoria and Junior Hoylett and Kamal Miller with Vaughan and Alistair Johnson and Dane Sinclair. So many players that we've been a part of, and being lucky to have watch Samuel Piette at the Pan Am Games and so many other players, Daniil Henry with the U20s. There's so many players there that I'm so proud of. Like, and it's important to know their trip to get to where they came from, and their story is incredible.
All right. So, by the way, Carm, are you going to wake me up at 5 in the morning to do an update here? Because some games are at 5, 8, 11, and 2. Are you up at 5 in the morning so we could do an update like 6:30, 7 o'clock? Yeah, right. You give me the
I
thumbs up and
definitely
you go
am.
like this. Okay. So that's all. But by the way, Canada's first matchup is Wednesday against Belgium at 2 p.m. Wednesday against Belgium at 2 p.m. And then Sunday the Canada's next matchup Sunday at 11 p.m. versus or 11 a.m. versus Croatia, and then their last first round matchup is Thursday at 10 a.m. versus Morocco. All right, that's the schedule here. Again, we're going to be doing daily coverage of the World Cup right on the Fired Up Network. Special on Friday, 11:30 a.m. A World Cup preview. But Carm, honestly, one of the final questions here. What do you expect from Team Canada this time around? 1986, it looked like, I was, like I said, I was only 12. We were happy to get there. It's Mexico, it's close by and all that. But now there's a little bit more pressure on these guys.
Yeah, I think they're up for the pressure. I think they were up for the pressure. I mean, Canada back in the '80s was expected to be top two in the CONCACAF, top two to the Mexicans, and they were always expected to. So this is a team that probably underachieved, like not getting to the '82 World Cup, maybe not getting to the '90 World Cup. So these situations is different. This team is a team that on paper and everywhere else overachieved and are still not getting the respect they deserve as far as rankings, as far as all that stuff's concerned. So the scariest thing is they're coming in with a chip on their shoulder, and they're coming in with a belief. And I think when that whistle finally blows, that belief is just going to explode. And I do think that Holland and Croatia and Morocco will have to be at their best to beat this group. That's for sure. I think that all the memories of playing a tough Mexico in the Azteca Stadium and all those challenges that they had will come to the forefront, and they'll definitely be up for that challenge because all the preparation now, because of Herdman will have every detail, everything understood, every I dotted and T crossed. So it'll be interesting for these guys to see how much preparation and now the willpower and the passion that's going to come out of it. So you know what? I think the group that he selected was very good. I think the happy stories of Liam Miller earning a spot there, the stories of Maxime Crepeau who was fighting for a starting spot, breaking his leg so heroically in the LAFC MLS final, but that's Maxime is. He's just selfless and sacrifices for the group as he did. And then the side stories, not having a Scott Arfield there, for different reasons. Scott Arfield doing so much with Rangers and playing in the Champions League and could have offered so much guidance, but I think this group was resilient in their mentality, and I'm sure that Scott Arfield did match that mentality. So there's other situations where I think that it'll be a very close group. A group that will be led by emotion, but don't let that emotion fool you, because there's going to be a lot of preparation and a lot of tactical awareness in that group as well.
Now, late last week, Canada played their final tune-up against Bahrain. They finished 2-2. were through the years of, what do you look at in the final tune-up, and were you satisfied with that draw, or do you expect something more against Bahrain?
I mean, again, usually let's talk about, in the past, 1986 even, they probably played an exhibition game like that, and it went under closed doors and no one knew about it. This was a game for the MLS players to get their feet back, to get their rhythm back. I don't think the result was the main focus. I think just staying healthy was the main focus. And unfortunately, we lost Daniel Henry in that game and with a calf injury. But I think that that was the main focus of this preparation against Bahrain. And then you saw some positives. Kone was who's projected to be the next thing in Canada. I think that really showed it. It made a good presentation of himself, and I think that will help going forward. I think the other players like Osorio getting back to 80, 90-minute game and getting his rhythm back is going to be really important. And the next 2 weeks is going to be really important for that for that as well. But the Bahrain game and the Japan game coming up is going to be vitally important for us in the rhythm. And these other Europeans like the Croatians and a lot of the Moroccan players and the Belgian players are just going to be a week into their preparations with the national team. So it could help them. They'll have reps and more gameplay. Canada's and getting these games and getting the next game against Japan is going to be very important for them as well.
All right, and don't forget, let's look at U.S. Okay, for 1 second, because I'm not going to go through all the teams. We'll do it on Friday with the soccer show. But U.S. What I'm going to ask you this. John Nelson is watching. He's actually asking what your thoughts about the U.S. Who has a better World Cup, Canada or the U.S.?
I say the draw is going to be a big deciding factor as well. I think the U.S. matches up well with their opponents, and I just think the U.S. humility will be important. The U.S. counterattacking system will be important. I think they have players that can break things up, and I think that they have players like Reyna and Pulisic that when they have space in front of them could be very, very dangerous. So I think that that's going to be how they defend in a low block, how they defend their box, and how they kind of exploit the spaces in those situations to attack the spaces in counter situations and transition situations. I think that's going to be massive for the U.S. And I think that as CONCACAF, the onus was on them to against CONCACAF teams, the onus was on them to take the game to their opponents. But here, I think it's the opposite. I think they're going to be able to create a lot of situations in transition action.
All right, final question here. Do you think ever, and you're the guy to ask because you bleed soccer here in this country. A lot of people don't talk about it. We talk about it. We're very good friends, and you're on the Fired Up Network. But take me through what it will be like when soccer is really at the top, passing hockey in Canada.
I mean, we've had tastes of it. I mean, Canada, I don't think that needs to happen here. I think that Canada and sports, and on Toronto especially in sports, have kind of brought in TFC into their community, into their hearts, which is more important. And so, some at the same level, even at a higher level than the Toronto. I love the TFC fan. I love the Vancouver Whitecap fan. I love the Montreal fan. And I think that football being and having a Canadian Pro League right now, and soon to be having a Canadian Women's Pro League in the near future for sure, will be incredibly important to the whole landscape of sports in Canada. And I think every Canadian soccer will have a massive part of it. And I think that we saw in with the qualifying and with the women's fall in the World Cup that was so massive. So Canada and I don't think they're competing with hockey or with baseball, or I think they're part of the landscape, and I think it's ingrained in, and they're starting to develop history. This was a massive step in new history of Canadian soccer. it's embraced in our community. And I that TFC and Vancouver Whitecaps are side by side, and the CF Montreal are side by side with the Canadians and the Canucks and the Leafs, and that's refreshing to see.
And you mentioned ladies professional soccer. When do you think that can happen, the ladies thing? Because you talk about WNBA, it's huge in the states, and hopefully WNBA next year and the year after are coming to Toronto. That's what I hear. But when do you think a woman professional Canadian soccer league will be coming to town here?
I mean, I would love to see. I think that Bree Carr Harris, she's the in charge of kind of developing the model blueprint of seeing what's there. I think that the most important thing that is there is the financial and interest. I think that this community, Ontario have kinds of resources in the women's game to develop a strong women's professional league. And and the one expanding to BC, expanding to Quebec, the PLS. I think those are vital in the women's game, and I think that the work that Dino Rossi is doing with League One and making sure that the women's game is at par, and getting the women's League One and PLS and to Alberta, we hope. But I think that that's a platform for a great women's league that we will see sooner than later for sure.
All right, that's Carmen Asako with our small World Cup update. Remember, check us out Friday 11:30 for a massive World Cup soccer preview, and then daily coverage here of the World Cup with Carmen, with John Freeman Nelson, with Carmen, with Giancarlo Lino, with myself, and maybe we have some other surprises Carmen knows about, I know about. You got to tune us in to find out what they are. Carmen, any last comments here as we prepare, like my new studio, World Cup studio, all right? As we prepare, it comes from your budget, all right? So, any last comments as we prepare for the World Cup?
No, I think I'm excited about the selection. I'm excited about the group and what they can achieve. And I think that's when if Canada's at their best, they're not going to be easy to beat. That's for sure. And I think I agree with you, Joe, for once. That I think that not only are they going to score goals, but I think they're going to win games and they're going to put on a big fight to get through that group.
And you're
So love the selection. Let's go. Good basis, good strong. Obviously Alfonso Davis, Jonathan David, Atiba Hutchinson now back in the fray in Turkey playing games is all exciting for us. And Stevie Victoria has been a beast in organizing Kamal and Alistair. It should be crazy. It should be great fun to see, and I'm looking forward to it. And everyone out there better be supporting. We better be supporting. Whether it's on St. Clair or whether it's in Woodbridge or whether it's in Markham or Scarborough, we better be having those Canadian flags waving proudly because this is a group to be proud of.
and Carm, of course, we're going to be at Nino D'Aversa. Maybe we should do some live hits from Nino D'Aversa, which you're paid for food by. Anyways, Marty Roberts, your good friend, has chimed in one question. Since you guys are talking football, who's Carmen's pick for the Grey Cup? Argos and Winnipeg Sunday. Argos and Winnipeg.
Yeah, I gotta go with the Argos, although I think Winnipeg's like 501 in the last 4 years.
That's right. That's right.
So
All right.
I gotta go with the hometown Argos, and and good luck to them.
All right. Again, check us out on Friday, 11:30 a.m. for the World Cup preview and then daily coverage of World Cup today with Carmen Asako. Thanks a lot, Carm.
All right, guys, we'll talk soon.
That was an exclusive with Carmen Asako, the head coach of the York University men and ladies. And I urge you, the biggest independent soccer show happens tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Myself, Giancarlo Lino, Carmen Asako, the Hall of Famer John Freeman Nelson, Alf de Blesses, I don't have to tell you, Off the Blast is Latino legend and a Canadian World Cup player will join us tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Also, tomorrow, Femme Fridays. We got 2 hours of female shows coming to you. Saturday, of course, Maple Leafs Hockey Night in Canada. By the way, the Leafs and New Jersey Devils just getting underway. No Score will do Leafs Forever post-game edition right here about 9:40 with Marty Roberts. Sunday, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Now, 10 a.m., not 10:30, 10 a.m. on Sunday. And our guest, 10 a.m. on Sunday, our host, who's going to do the show at 10 a.m. Sunday, has this to say.
Who's ready for week 11 in the National Football League? I know I am. I'm Andy McNamara. Special start time for the ultimate fantasy football show this Sunday on Firedup Network, 10 a.m. Eastern, 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern. My buddy Show Ali's going to join me, and I got a couple more of these bad boys. Free pizza! Free Domino's pizza! Just for watching. You'll have a chance to win. Make sure you stay on social media at AndyMC81 on Twitter, at FiredUpNet as well, Instagram at AndyMC Sports. How you can win some great Domino's pizza, and some delicious Domino's pizza goes well with some delicious fantasy football advice. My 2 hot picks, hashtag Ask Andy. Get your fantasy football questions in doing that, and I will see you Sunday, 10 a.m. for the ultimate fantasy football show.
Thank you, Andy. Ultimate Fantasy Football Show special start time 10 a.m. That's on Sunday. Also Sunday night, we'll recap day 1 of the World Cup. Monday, we'll have midday update, all your news regarding the NFL and a World Cup update as well. And we are just getting started. We got so many new things coming on, so many big stars coming on, and great contests. Andy will tell you about another contest coming up very soon. But as you know, World Cup starts on Sunday. Also, the Grey Cup on Sunday. Yes, the Grey Cup on Sunday. And my good and close personal friend Eric Cohen and I talk about the Grey Cup and preview the Argos. The Argos versus Winnipeg. And that's going to be a doozy. The 109th Grey Cup in Hamilton. It goes down Sunday, 6 p.m. And here is myself and good friend Eric Cohen previewing the Grey Cup. Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Firedup Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Firedup Network, Firedup Live, and welcome to CFL No Yards with the one and only my good friend from TSN, Eric Cohen. The Grey Cup is upon us. The Grey Cup is upon us. Saskatchewan, snowy Saskatchewan. Look outside his window. All right, snowy. It's Eric. Did you bring long johns? Are you wearing 2, 3, 4 long johns? Apparently, in Saskatchewan on Sunday. Minus 13 Celsius with snow. SNOW. Now, between the Argos and Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Grey Cup, who does that favor?
I have to say Winnipeg. And, obviously it's going to be teams, but, what a job that replacing Andrew Harris. I mean, last year, obviously, Andrew Harris playoffs for Winnipeg and was a huge part of what they did in the West Final and their win against the Sky. He was doing well in Toronto before his injury. Came back last week, just like he did last final this year, and obviously played well. And between him and AJ Ouellette, the punch. But Brady Oliveira has just been unbelievable for offensive line that the Bombers have there. That when they're very hard to stop. It's hard to find areas where Toronto is going to have an advantage running the ball, and the offensive line is advantage Winnipeg, or acclimated to running their offense in this
All right, so we're gonna break down here the Argos winning the East, defeating Montreal, and tough game. We talked about it. BC, Winnipeg, BC with that quarterback going to be good things to see. We'll talk about that. Where the quarterback's he's trying out with the NFL there. But let's go with the Argos. For the Argos to win, what do they have to do?
Well, I think they got to contain Zach Collaros, and I think just got hurt late in the West Final. I obviously all I was thinking about was now for Toronto, but from everything I've been told and everything we've seen, Collaros, he walked off the airplane fine. His teammates were making jokes about him doing a wrestle to make sure he was fresh on that plane ride from Winnipeg to Saskatchewan. Obviously, I think Russ had to deal with when he went overseas, but I think that's the biggest way Toronto would have an edge in this game is if Collaros was not mobile and he was more of a statue, and Toronto's very impressive defensive line was able to. And if Collaros didn't have the time to get the ball to his stud receivers, obviously, Dalton Schoen is about as good as it gets. Greg Ellingson, he's been in the past from his days with Eastern teams, most notably Ottawa, and of course Nick Dembski, right? So the Bombers have big time. If the Argos can get to Collaros, those guys down the field, that's the way the Argos can win this football game.
All right, let's go the opposite way because let's face it, Winnipeg has been here back to back, could be back to back to back Grey Cup champions. When is somebody, and if you look at they lost and they've been the best team in CFL for maybe 5-6 years, let's say. Okay, when is somebody going to talk about Winnipeg being, forget about dynasty, equivalent to the old Edmonton Eskimos since the 1980s there?
Well, I think a lot of people are talking about that because Winnipeg do what they did, and that's win. Excuse me. Yeah, it's cold, Joe. Win 3 straight Grey Cups. So there's no doubt Winnipeg Grey Cups. They were an underdog in the first one. They beat a really run 15 games. The second one they had to go to Hamilton and win that one in Hamilton. So, those two they beat Hamilton and certainly were not sure things. Second one as well. They were trailing big time in that game. There was no Grey Cup off here, so you go back. It's been a long time since somebody other than Winnipeg won the Grey Cup. Winnipeg definitely they win this game. They are a dynasty. I already consider them that, so I think they're already there. But that's where we are. They're at the top of the team that's close to them or has been that close to them. Obviously, Hamilton took a big step back this year and couldn't win a playoff game and was under 500. So, yeah, Toronto has their work cut out for them. But I think Toronto knows that. I like Toronto's obviously Brandon Banks was a part of the 2 Grey Cups that Winnipeg won. Toronto is going to try for a third time to beat this team in a Grey Cup. I like those. I do. I think that there's a lot of veterans.
A 3-time loser.
Well, he could be. But I think McLeod Bethel Thompson is going to go into this game with the right attitude. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a good game. I think it might be closer than some people think. Some people think it's going to be play with them, and I think this game's going to be decided in the fourth quarter.
So let me ask you this. If the Argos win, is this the biggest upset in Grey Cup history? The last, let's say, maybe not Grey Cup history, maybe the last 30 years?
Not even close.
No?
Toronto's not even that big an underdog in this game. So from a point spread perspective, up to 5.5 points. So no, people who gamble on the CFL are not expecting Winnipeg to just go and blow them out. And I don't think that you should think that Winnipeg's going to blow them out. Winnipeg did another one of their Grey Cup wins. I mentioned the last one was in overtime. This year Winnipeg certainly did not blow up BC. BC didn't handle that last possession very, very well. Winnipeg, who had for the second straight year, had the West Division 1 weeks to go in the regular season. They played a lot of close games down the stretch. Montreal and Winnipeg, a lot of teams were able to play with them. So I don't think it's by any means a foregone out. And if Winnipeg loses this game, I don't think people are going to be too shocked. I don't think a humongous upset. Certainly a bigger upset was when Ottawa beat Calgary here in Toronto, which was a great cup that also went down.
All right, so two things before I get to your prediction here. Bo Levi Mitchell getting traded. Hamilton has his rights, but he still wants to test out free agency. And we talked about the BC quarterback, Rourke, there, getting tryouts with the National Football League. Where do you think he ends up? Put it that way. First, Nathan Rourke.
Well, Nathan Rourke, definitely opportunity at the NFL. The way he was going before his teams would be interested. When he came back from his injury with the foot, he clearly wasn't this well. So you weren't able to see from him what you saw early in the year. But I think Brissett definitely wants a shot, and we'll see if he can catch on with an NFL team as a quarterback. Obviously, that news would suck for BC, but it's also part of the reason why they acquired Vernon Adams Jr. earlier in the year in case this happens. So Levi Mitchell, Hamilton obviously did not get what they were expecting at a Mazzoli go. So for them, they need better play out of the quarterback position. And the teams in the past that have made that have traded for a player to get their rights have always given Hamilton a big edge in signing Bo Levi Mitchell. The other team obviously that would be very interested isn't interested in having Cody Fajardo come back. They made that clear down the stretch. For me, Bo Levi's probably playing in Hamilton. If not Hamilton, it'll be Saskatchewan.
All right. So now getting back to the Argos, I'm going to ask you for your prediction, and I don't think you're going to pick the Argos. So if the Argos win, okay, are you going? It's funny to say, but are you going to the Grey Cup parade? And how many people will be at the Grey Cup parade? Because we saw 2.5 million for the Raptors parade. If the Maple Leafs ever win the Stanley Cup, which will be 1967, 2067, 45 million that will be projected. Canadian, the whole country will be out for the party. It will be a national holiday. How many people will be down at Yonge Street, start at City Hall when the Argos win? Or do they care if the Argos win the Grey Cup? How many people actually care?
Less than 2.5 million, that's for sure. It will not be a repeat of what the Raptors had when they beat
Golden State.
I think it's definitely, they have a history of doing very well in this game. They've won the last 6 great. I've been there to watch it. I've been to the last 3
great. Are you taking credit for the wins?
Taking absolutely no credit. But what unlike the Maple Leafs and longest time the Raptors, Toronto in the CFL has a lot of very good hits in the big game, and that's why I believe they have a shot. I don't. Winnipeg's a foregone conclusion. I actually think Toronto can win this game. I believe that the Argos, when they play the way they're capable of playing, this is going to be a close game. So I think it's a possibility. unfortunately
All
for
right,
the
wait,
Argos.
hold on. You're like 649 here. I'm going to ask you. By the way, the Argos have the most wins ever in Grey Cup history. 17
Yep.
wins. 17 wins.
Yep.
So here it is. Stop playing 649 here, okay? This is like listening to Eric playing NFL. Well, I like the Bills in the first half. In the second half, Josh Allen's going to fumble in the end zone, and then whatever. All right. So who's your pick? Who's the player of the game? Go ahead.
I believe the Bombers win. I believe the Argos cover. I believe it's a very close game. I'll go with Dalton Schoen as the player who has the biggest game injury. I think Dalton Schoen shows up, shows out. It's game, but I do believe it's close, and I think Toronto's going to be in position where they can win this.
Forget it close. Give me a score. It's betting CFL. Everybody watches the Grey Cup like the Super Bowl. Give me a score.
24-20.
24-20 for Winnipeg. I'm going to say this. If the Argos win, it's going to be Andrew Harris who rides them to victory. If the Argos lose, it's going to be Mikel Bethel-Thompson that gives away the game. Put it that way. And I I'm the president of the provinces of Canada. So either I pick the Argos, which, by the way, Eric, Toronto is in Canada. Winnipeg is in Canada. So it's going to be this. The Argos or Winnipeg. Somebody will win the Grey Cup. How do you like that, Eric? I sound Mr. Orange from the U.S., your friend Donald something. All right, Eric, give me your highlight of the CFL season.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. That's better than whatever you come up with.
You know what? I'll say when Toronto beat Winnipeg early in the year. Toronto Bombers in Toronto. It's the second straight year Toronto's beaten the Bombers. So Toronto has a history of beating this team, and I guess for me, it gives me hope that Toronto can find a win the Grey Cup, which would be their 7th in a row in the games that they're at. So Argos finding a way to beat the Bombers early in the year. That'd be my highlight of the year.
All right. So the Grey Cup is this.
You know what? I should take that back. Beat them. They lost. I believe they lost by one. No,
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say anything.
They lost by cover because the Argos were getting 5.5, and they ended up losing by 1. They came all the way back. I was excited, but last year they beat them outright with Nick Arbuckle. Back and look. I think they lost by 1 when they played. They did. They lost 23-22. Huge cover. So that was a game that I was very excited.
Hey, Eric, I could have done you in. I
was thinking about that game, and I'm like, I know the Argos covered. Then again, they lost at the end of the last, but that was a big cover for me.
Yeah, big cover for you. But how much money did you make out of that? How much money?
I did well with it. I did well.
All right. Well, anyways, the Grey Cup happens in Saskatchewan this Sunday, November 20th. The Argos and Winnipeg, 6 p.m., meaning 6:20 kickoff and everything like that. Both of us pick Winnipeg. Hopefully the Argos win. Now, Eric, just a side note here. 2 things. NFL big weekend. It looks like it's going to be a blizzard in Buffalo. Buffalo, Cleveland. Who's your pick?
Buffalo gets back on track, beats the Browns.
All right. And just breaking on Wednesday, the Blue Jays made a trade with the Seattle Mariners. They traded Teoscar Hernandez for a couple of pitchers there. Teoscar, don't you think they should have got more for Hernandez?
Yeah, definitely should have gone. There's a lot going on with the Blue Jays. Obviously, Teo only had 1 year left. Big contract have to pay. There are sources that are saying the Jays are interested in Brandon Nemo. That will cost a lot. Obviously, it's it would add a left-handed bat looking at. But yeah, I would have liked a little bit more. Obviously, we know the Jays need help. You know, the last game that the Blue Jays played this year was a game they blew 8-1 to Seattle.
Yeah,
Twice
you
in
were
that
there.
game.
No, hold on.
I was there. Yes, I go to
So
all
wait
the
a minute.
games.
Eric's taking credit for the loss. Anybody watching the
No, what I'm
movies,
saying,
this guy
Blue Jays
and you were under
bullpen, the
center.
Blue Jays, and they went out and got a big arm from the bullpen from Seattle for a guy that homered twice. Of course, the Toronto Blue Jays losing, but Teo going yard twice.
So hold on. Last time Blue Jays got an arm from Seattle, do you remember who it was?
The last pitcher
he was amazing this year. A left-handed pitcher. They were a little bit Kikuchi with that one.
Yeah, that did not go so well at all. They got Kikuchi. They trade for him. They signed him as a free agent, but yes, he was an all-star in Seattle last year, and he's
all right. So that's Eric Cohen. Again, the Grey Cup happens in Saskatchewan this Sunday, November 20th. The Argos of Winnipeg, 6 p.m. Eric, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. And can you explain why your name is Hunter? Should I call you Hunter, Eric?
Me and Triple H like to share the same nickname. Hopefully we can share Stephanie. At the end of the day, you can follow me on Twitter at Real Eric Cohen.
You want to share Stephanie?
Stephanie would be great, man. Get me into the family.
Give me that. You told me, you sent me a text saying set you up with Aaliyah, set you up with Alba Fire. Which one?
316. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be.
All right. I'm not going to get you in trouble, Eric. Thanks a lot, Eric.
You're welcome.
That was Eric Cohen for a Grey Cup preview. Of course, the Grey Cup happens this Sunday, November 20th from Saskatchewan. The Argos up against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And the first period in the Maple Leaf game. And the Maple Leafs and New Jersey Devils, winners of 10 in a row, are tied up at 1. Austin Matthews scoring the goal for the Maple Leafs on the power play. Austin Matthews needs to get, he needs to be on fire here for the Maple Leafs to continue on here. And by the way, of course, that Teoscar Hernandez trade did go through. Congratulations to Paul Goldschmidt for winning the MVP. We'll talk about it at the end of the show with Marty Roberts, a live post-game edition of Maple Leafs Forever. Again, and the first period, the Maple Leafs won, New Jersey Devils won. Now, of course, the NFL is going on, and we touched with Eric that there's going to be a storm in Buffalo. Well, that game, the NFL has moved the Buffalo game. Buffalo and Cleveland was supposed to play in Orchard Park, Highmark Field. Well, that game will be played in Detroit at Ford Field, 1 o'clock on Sunday. That means the Buffalo Bills will play in Detroit this Sunday, and they play Thursday, Thanksgiving, against the Lions. So 2 games in Detroit. 2 games in Detroit in a span of 4 days. I don't know if they're going to go back to Buffalo, but 2 games in a span of 4 days for the Buffalo Bills. Hopefully Josh Allen's okay. Buffalo Bills pick up a big victory in Cleveland or against Cleveland and against Detroit. Then they play New England. All right, and I mentioned this because we're going to take you to sports fluent Anthony K, good friend of mine, Anthony K, with the Fantasy Grill and the Fantasy Goats. The Fantasy Goats. From here, deep down, the Fantasy Goats. All right, and we're going to do that right now. Anthony K with the Fantasy Grill.
Jumping on, it's the Fantasy Grill. I'm here, as everybody knows, with the Fantasy Gods. Am I getting it?
The
Am I getting it?
gods.
Am I getting it?
Gods.
The gods. You
And
can say the gods.
I
The
like
gods.
when you guys are on because I'm always telling other people, hey, here's what you should do. I'm, doing all the research, doing the work. But you guys did all the work. So now I can ask you, because I'm going to start right off the bat with, I got a problem. In one of my main leagues, my big league, my most trash talking league, I have Cooper Kupp.
Mm.
Now what do I do? I just make it simple. Now what do I do? Who do I get?
Well, I'll start it real quick. You can't replace Cooper, like going to replace him. What you want to do is try to find the most upside that you can. Justin called this pre-game, but Christian Watson is someone that probably is rostered now. He's probably out there, but if he's still sticking around, he has the most upside that you're looking for as far as points that could match Cooper Kupp, right? So you got the super ultra athletic, drafted early, and I actually really like Christian Watson dynasty-wise as a rookie. I called that early on, and I said that he has all the things that you look for. And I got clowned. Height, weight, speed. Everybody was just clowning me for that. But it turns out that this dude has the metrics that you look for in a wide receiver one. And sure enough, he displayed it last week with 3 touchdowns. So we know he has the upside. The other guy that you have to look at is you're probably just throwing it around, but I think Allen Robinson has probably been dropped in most leagues. So now it's kind of time to see if he's still on waivers. And then, of course, Kadarius Toney, another guy that probably not rostered in most leagues, someone that you could look at. He was phenomenal. I saw the highlight. He changed his glove mid-catch.
Yeah, he adjusted his
Before
glove.
the catch. That was crazy.
That's special. So I think those 3 for me would be the ones I'd look at.
Yeah, there's no replacing what Cooper Kupp does on a week-to-week basis. And when you talk about, Allen Robinson, you just got to temper your expectations. He's a high-end wide receiver 3 with a little bit of potential now if Stafford gets him the ball. Some other options include trading, right? This is a trade deadline for most leagues. Go after some guys that people are fading. Deebo Samuel, who has similar upside, but also isn't going to be what you drafted him at. You might be able to get him at a cheaper price. There's injured players who are potentially coming back from injury. Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase. So these are guys you can target at potentially lower cost. Mike Williams, Hollywood Brown, guys that can significantly help your team that you might be able to get at a reduced price. So while you definitely want to play the waiver wire, that's not the only way to win. I'd be sending active trade offers if I lost Cooper Kupp.
So here's the thing. In most leagues, people fall in love with, 1, people they draft, and 2, people with name cachet. Will people actually trade you? Do you believe they'll trade you a Jamar Chase or a Deebo just on name alone for something reasonable? Or
I think
if you have to over offer to get him, then what's the point? Like, I have a situation where I've got Cooper Kupp and AJ Brown. So now I got to replace Cooper Kupp, clearly, because that's what the team was built around, right? Those are the guys that have been winning me my games. I'm not going to give up my one good running back, which is Nick Chubb, because that's my guy. Like, I don't have really. I'm obvious. If you're going to be strong at wide receiver, you're going to be weak somewhere else. So I'm not giving up Nick Chubb. How am I getting one of these guys? And just for the record, I had Watson, Christian Watson, right? I dropped him. He's still available. I can pick him up, no problem. He's still available. And I have Kadarius Toney, I think, in most of my leagues. So I guess I'm okay. But my worry is with Toney as an example. If if everybody's healthy, if Juju's healthy and Hardman's healthy, the reason he had, I think, a good week, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, is because Hardman was out. So he got some extra. Hardmans.
Yeah, and Juju went out. And when you're,
and then Juju, that's right.
Yeah, to answer your question, I think it's also about you as a trade person, right? The person that's doing the deals. You have to understand that not every trade is going to be fair. Sometimes you have to do things to help your team. And one way to do that without giving up your stud players is to give the other player who does have the stud, the Keenan Allen, the one who recognizes the name value or maybe the draft capital that was put in. You have to give that person some upside. So you mentioned you have Christian Watson on your team. That's a guy I definitely would include in this, because in that person's head for Keenan Allen, Christian Watson actually might be more valuable. But Keenan Allen has the name. So you throw Christian Watson in another piece that can start on their team. You have to look at their team, evaluate. Do they need a tight end? Do they need a running back? If you throw another startable piece in there, now it makes a swap a little bit easier for that person to take on because they're like, okay, I still like the look of my team without Keenan Allen. That's what people want to feel like their team from top to bottom looks good after they do a trade. If they're going to spend the time to invest in a trade, they want to make sure that they got the right deal and feel like they improved and won the deal. So as the trade partner, as the person that's giving up, you have to be able to say, look, as long as I feel like I'm improving, it should be a good thing.
All right.
Yeah. I'll also say this: if you have Cooper Kupp, it's also a good time that he's on IR, so he's not out for the season, right? So at least at this moment. So to me, I think you need to capitalize on that. If you're looking at replacing Cooper Kupp or getting someone of a value, go to those teams that are in second, third, maybe even fourth place, right? That you say, hey, look, I'll give you Cooper Kupp because he's going to be there for the playoffs still. We still got a few weeks left. Do you want him in the playoffs, right? And you can kind of sell that name, sell the fact that he's not on IR for the season and say, hey, maybe you will get someone in that range, like you said, Deebo Samuel or maybe a Mike Evans, like, hey, this guy maybe has the depth that he can give up and be like, you know what, I'll take Cooper Kupp on the bench because, hey, man, for the playoffs, he's going to be a stud for my team and I could win it all. But you may be able to sell that, right? And then Cooper Kupp may come back. He may not come back at all and you win. Mm-hmm. He may come back and he'll just still be, slow off the injury and you win. So, I mean, you could use Cooper Kupp as a chance for his name and the fact that he's just on IR for a couple weeks and still get a top tier talent to push you forward.
I'm in a difficult position because I'm the guy who's been leading all season and now I'm in second. So I am that guy. So now you got me thinking maybe I just hang on to because it's 4 to 8 weeks, they say, right? 4 weeks, probably gets him back in time for the playoffs. 8 weeks, maybe too late. Would you give up a Mark Andrews? I'm just giving everybody my whole team here. Would you give up Mark Andrews to replace him? Or and when I say replace him, to your point, you're not replacing Cooper Kupp, but to get in another kind of wide receiver one, like a top 12-ish.
I would not give up Mark Andrews to get Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I mean,
no.
Don't have a tight end.
No. Should I give up Mark Andrews to replace Cooper Kupp?
He's acquiring Andrews.
I have it. No, I have Andrews.
Oh, you have Andrews.
Oh yeah. My team.
No, if you have Cooper Kupp, especially if you're in first, don't panic. You throw some offers out there. I would not trade any of my starting pieces, especially since you just lost a starter. I'd be trading pieces on my bench to secure more starters, especially because buys are going to end here in the next 4 weeks. And that's also right around the time when Cooper Kupp comes back. If you have 6, 7, 8 wins, 9 wins on the year, whatever your record is, you're okay. As long as you secure a playoff spot, that's really the only thing that matters. So if you can secure some more wins along with because there's times you've had Cooper Kupp on your team, you've lost, right? So it's not like he's the only factor. You have a team for a reason. Use some of those bench pieces to acquire or just trust some of those bench pieces. They're on your bench for a reason.
All right. Actually, my first loss was his bye week, I believe.
Well, then maybe not then. And
then my second loss was Joe Mixon's
50-point game.
50 whatever point game. Yeah. So damn you, Joe Mixon, who I've been trying to trade for all season. No one will give him up. All right. So what else? All right. So that's my scenario. What else is going on? Who are some other names, running backs, any other position? What are the guys that we should be looking at, be it waiver wires or, hey, we're getting close to the playoffs. Who should we be looking at?
I think for me, it's got to be Cole Kmet. I've seen him on waivers everywhere. And again, he keeps producing. He's starting to do the breakout. We predicted Cole Kmet early on in the season. Didn't look good for us. We were like, oh man, this guy's a bust. It's not doing well. But now slowly but surely he's getting involved. He has the athleticism that you look for in a tight end, which is the key to top 5 tight ends. You have to be explosive athlete. It's very difficult if you're not. All the guys that were explosive athletes, at least right now, guys like Zach Ertz, even Mark Andrews and Kelsey, those guys are uber athletes. So you have to find those gems, and Cole Kmet was, but early on in the season, he was nothing. So he was dropped in most leagues. So I think that, especially if you don't have Kelsey or you don't have Mark Andrews, and especially when Zach Ertz just went off, he's done, go get Cole Kmet if he's still on waivers. He has to be a target for you.
It's no surprise to me as a guy who watches obviously every second of every Bears game, that the Chase Claypool trade happens. They allowed Justin Fields to start being who he needs to be, which is scrambling and RPOs and that type of thing. And all of a sudden the attention shifts, even though Claypool hasn't, people are gonna say he hasn't done much. Yeah, but there's still attention there. They know what he's capable of. Mm-hmm. Now they got to worry about Fields running. Well, guess who's that guy when he scrambles that breaks the route off and just goes and he's wide open? You saw kind of on Sunday, right? Wide open for a 60-yard touchdown. It's Cole Kmet because of those things. It's no coincidence, right? Those 2 weeks that he's had now, 20 plus, I believe, fantasy points 2 weeks in a row, coincide with what the Bears are now doing differently on offense.
Well, this has been what everybody's been clamoring for, is get Justin Fields some weapons. And it took them looking like a historically bad passing offense for them to go and get Chase Claypool. And yeah, the offense is going to look better. Chase Claypool is an underrated run blocker as well. I think this trade is going to work out for everybody, including Cole Kmet. When you talk about fantasy studs, though, people that you want to pick up, I'm looking at a few running backs as well. Two of the names at the top of the list are Rachaad White and Isaiah Pacheco. Rachaad White should have some pass catching value there for the Bucs, as well some split carries. I think Fournette suffered a hip injury over the weekend. They have the bye; he's expected back, but Rachaad White's going to be a part of this backfield moving forward. And then Isaiah Pacheco took a lot of the load for the rushing attack for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now I know it's a backfield, but a split backfield. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs have a very nice playoff schedule. You get Pacheco for absolutely free on waivers.
Pacheco, I keep hearing the name. I keep hearing the name, but then I keep watching the Chiefs game. And they just don't run the ball. They don't throw it at him. I'm waiting for him to have that game where he breaks out. I know the waiver's not there. Yeah.
The breakout game hasn't happened. He was just announced as a starter right before the bye, and so he dominated the touches. I want to say he had 17 carries in the game yesterday or on Sunday. And so to me, you're buying right now.
He also had that red zone fumble.
He did have a fumble, but where was it? It was in the red zone.
I said it, red zone fumble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing, is that they actually are using him in the red zone instead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which was the problem with Pacheco before. So the usage is there. We just haven't seen the results on fantasy score box.
Okay, put it down. Who else? I saw you were about to jump in. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say about Isaiah Pacheco. Look, I think he passes the eye test to me. Like he runs hard. He may be
damn eye test.
Try hard,
try hard, yeah.
But it's just the Chiefs' offense. I mean, at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He's the one that it's everything on that. And I think that if he had a touchdown, he would have had that breakout last week. He had 16 carries, 87 yards, 5 point something a clip. He's good. I mean, there's a reason why they moved on from Clyde. Like Clyde was their first round pick, like invested. He was Patrick Mahomes' guy, and now it's like, never mind. So to me, and it's tough on waivers. Running backs are hard to come by. So ultimately, I mean, if you need help, this is going to be the guy.
What about a guy like I've been hearing, and he's a guy that I picked up on one of my kind of deeper leagues where I need to kind of stash a few guys. I think his first name is Jalen Warren. He's the backup in Pittsburgh. Najee Harris isn't having a great season. Steelers aren't having a great season. It's pretty electrifying. Like, do you think he gets a shot here kind of as the season comes to hey, we're not going anywhere. Let's see what the kid can do. Like, and maybe someone else, if you can think of someone else, but that's the first one that came to my mind, where here's a team that historically runs the ball well. Like their running backs put up good numbers. He got later on in this, as they might be rest Najee and say, hey, let's go worry about next year. It's, Mike Tomlin's first, I think, going to be first losing season unless something crazy happens. Anybody else think kind of under the radar?
Now, I don't think that it's going to be just a season where they say, Najee, go get healthy, because his team also invested a very high pick in Najee Harris. So he's been banged up early on. I think they have to see, is he the guy that can lead him in the future? Jalen Warren just better. So coming off of the bye, I think I can expect a split between them. I know Najee got a little nicked up during the game, but it's going to be more of a split, in my opinion, than just a Jalen Warren takeover, even in fantasy playoffs. Steelers team likes to run the football, so to me, it's not that. Not a full takeover, but a guy that I think is going to take over. He just won't take over the passing work. Brian Robinson. You could see the back, some of the things he was missing early when he first came back. it was there versus the Eagles yesterday. And the reason why Ron Rivera liked him a lot, and they're going to run him. So he might not get you the pass catching yards, but in a standard league, I like Brian Robinson a lot.
PPR, does Antonio Gibson still have some value though?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We saw him get in the end zone yesterday, and it's not what it was in the past, obviously, but
he's one of my flexes. You know, I gotta ask. I told you I have a good team. What about you? What about you? What do you think? Anyone other than Warren or someone? It doesn't have to be a running back, by the way. It could be kind of anywhere.
Shoot. So I mean, I gave you kind of my things. It's kind of tough to kind of see. I mean, look, waivers is tough. You're gonna have. I mean, you lost a lot of people this year. Like Ertz, Goddard is going down. I think he's doubtful, if not, out for a couple of weeks.
The tight end position has been horrible. If you don't have Kelsey, you're pretty much and it's horrible. I would say you could also argue a Paris Campbell, someone that with Matt Ryan coming back, he's looking better with him. He had 20 points last week, 9 targets, 7 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. So I think that's something to look at. Obviously, Alex Pierce is a rookie. He's explosive, but he can be up and down. So, again, the quarterback change could help. You got Jonathan Taylor back in the game. Absolutely. If you bought low on Taylor, congrats. I tried. Everybody said no because of that name. Everybody said no because it's Jonathan Taylor. I'm like, but he stinks right now. Come on. No,
let me hear what you offered for him though. That's all.
I don't remember, but it was enough.
Okay,
it was enough. It was enough.
Sometimes that happens where you try to buy low, but it's like, nah, I'm not giving him offer even lower.
Yeah, no, I historically would do that, but I was trying to be fair this time around. I was trying to be fair.
One more player I really like coming in. He's on a bye. He was on a bye last week. Elijah Moore. Right. I'm not a big Elijah Moore fan, but you can get him off of waivers. And he's settling in as the slot receiver for this team. This team was going to trade him. He asked for a trade. They didn't want to. He was a dog towards the end of last season. And, Dan and I both had talked about Elijah Moore. He wasn't somebody that you wanted to invest a heavy draft pick in, but he's free now. And he's a guy that if he gets 4 to 6 catches a game, he could potentially do damage in the 60 to 80 yard range. And of course, they'll look at him in the red zone. So Elijah Moore is a guy I think you can get off of free agents right now in 10, 12-man leagues and has flex appeal at least during bye weeks.
Okay. I want to ask you a question about your Bills, just off of fantasy for a second. How you feeling?
Well, it hurts. I'm not gonna lie. We all of a sudden decide to just play the best games of the year, but we just take the L. It's just like we give you the best. We give you a show. We put on the show, and I guess we're just being nice. We want other teams to win. So it's look. I think the biggest takeaway for me, and it's a sigh of relief, is that Josh Allen is healthy. Obviously, he's frustrated. He took a big loss with the Jets. In the press conference, he was like, "Look, I played like shit. We can't win when your quarterback doesn't play good." And he's just in a funk right now. He's taking chances that shouldn't be taken. I think on the first red zone interception he had, they should have kicked the field goal. It was 4th down, kicked the field goal. And that's on the coach as well. But here's the thing. The coach is going to say, are you going to tell Josh Allen no? I mean, you're not. This dude is one of the best players, if not, the best player in the league, in my opinion. But he's very, very good and is very, very talented. And sometimes you just got to let the player roll, and that's Josh Allen. He just wants to win. Whether or not he wins or not is irrelevant. He wants to win. And I like that. I like to play to win and not play to lose. So, that's just me, but I'm not entirely worried. They played a great Minnesota team and the Jets were underrated. So, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. You're not
worried about all these kind of one. Remember, he was 0-7 in one possession games. Then he comes out and kind of wins one, and it's like, oh, the monkey's off his back. And now 2 weeks in a row, one possession.
Yeah, well, games. Of course. At the end of the day, the Vikings are playing phenomenal, and to be honest, this is probably their Super Bowl. So when they had to go against the Bills, they made a great statement win. They won. Jefferson had an incredible catch.
Can we talk about that?
Incredible catch.
Absolutely.
We can't talk about it. Absolutely.
That has to be one of the greatest catches of all time. I'm not going to call it the greatest catch or the greatest wide receiver performance like we've seen on some of the other networks out there. But to me, just the talent for Justin Jefferson to go and make that catch 4th and 18, just rip it away from the defender. Absolutely amazing effort. And then with 195 yards on the ground for fantasy too, through the air in fantasy too, you got to love it. Justin Jefferson becoming the best wide receiver in the game before our eyes.
It's interesting. At the time, I felt like someone said it was a hot take, but I didn't feel like it was, and now even less. Like I said, I felt like Jefferson this season was going to flirt. I didn't think he was going to flirt with that triple crown. He was going to flirt with it. So he's got to. His only thing holding us back is Kirk Cousins. Let's be honest.
Touchdowns.
The good news is he only got one more primetime game. So the rest of his games are in the afternoon, so we're good. Thanksgiving, look for the Minnesota Vikings to lose unless they start Kalen Mond. All right, back to fantasy. I want to ask you guys a question because I know you do shows every day. I see you popping up on my For You more and more, specifically on TikTok, but
good
other places as well. What's the number one or top questions, maybe 2 or 3? What's the top questions you guys get asked? Like, what's that one that you're like, man, I'm not sick of answering it, but it's like, aren't they watching? I answer this every day.
Who do I start?
Bro, it's bad.
Now, who do I start? Just who, or like this guy or that guy?
It's literally just who do I start? And it's like they give us this person or this person, this person or this person. Most of the time, it's like between 2 of identical players. So instead of, it's tough for us to give, recommendations are perfect. Nobody is perfect in this space. We all are going. Just don't know half the time to be the most dominant. So
game script changes as the game unfolds. So they might have had Pacheco. Hey, we're going to run him the ball, but guess what? Clyde is just hot, and so hey, we're just going to give him the ball. Every time he touches the ball for 9 yards. Well, sorry, Pacheco, here you go.
Or it'll happen, and the thing will happen, and they'll drop the pass. Like we put in a high risk, high reward player, and they'll drop a touchdown pass. Like things happen in the game. So I think that's probably not. It's not annoying because I know it's part of the gig and that's part of what we do to help. But who do I start is very random, especially when the players are. It's like, who do I start? Terrace Marshall or Gabe Davis? And it's like either one of those guys could do the same thing on any given week.
Yeah, I would say so. That's the same. It's just who do I start, especially on our Sunday show in the morning, right before the games. We give them the best advice. It's just the last minute, hey, y'all could have DM'd us like throughout the week. Like we have time, but hey, no, let's wait till the last hour of the last, chance. So, but I think the thing that we do the best, I think, and Justin hit it on the head where we can't get everything right. That's not what we're doing.
No, but anyone who says they get it right all the time is lying or not trying.
Right. But what we do offer are pathways. Like there are questions where it's like, hey, man, do I start, Christian McCaffrey off of an injury or do I play, Jeff Wilson? And we say, you play McCaffrey, like trust the process of the elite guys.
Trust
we
the
just
better
don't
player. Yeah.
Exactly. So there are people that come to us and they have those types of questions, maybe not that wide range, but very close to that range where it's like, okay, hey man, we got you. Just come on, just trust us, start the player, and then sure enough, he's gonna have the better game.
All right. So I'm gonna ask you one. When you have like an elite player, like an elite football player, so let's say you have like Aaron Rodgers or Joe Burrow. Right. You also have Justin Fields. Who do you start at quarterback when no disrespect to my guy Justin Fields, but Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow are better quarterbacks?
Well, I think it depends on when you ask that question, because in the early weeks, you're starting the elite guy, not even a question, right? So, but as you see the season move on, you see, teams happen, injuries happen, gameplay happens, different defenses that they play. You could start to mold and say, hey, Fields is looking pretty good. He's looking young, spry, got the legs, the philosophy's changed, the weapons are added. We make the call. So to me, it's when you ask, so I think.
Let's say I'm asking you this week.
Right.
I know
it matters. This week it matters
it's
too. And
Thursday when people are watching this. So it's Thursday.
Well, things matter. Things matter though. Like, so when you're talking about, even if it's Thursday or whatever day, it's situational. So matchups matter. Like the reason why I might have not recommended Justin Fields a couple weeks ago is because he hadn't been playing well and he had a bad matchup. He just played the Lions. He was running hot. They play the Falcons this week. He's running hot. Get him in your lineups, right? But you're looking at Aaron Rodgers. He goes up against, say he goes up against the Detroit Lions in week 15, and Jalen Hurts goes up against Philly, and it's windy out there. That changes things. So now we're at a point in fantasy where it's week to week and information matters. And so this is why people like us are helpful in this space, but then also it's important to do some research and know, what you're going up against. So the elite players in fantasy win for that reason. I would say information is key at this juncture of the season.
I'm not suggesting people don't watch you Sunday morning, but I will give you a piece of advice that's personal. Every time I make a change first thing Sunday morning, unless it's someone who I found out is out and I replace them with someone who's active. Okay. Other than that, anytime I'm like this person or that person and I change my mind at the last minute, it's always bit me in the
jinxed.
It's just like, nah, that person's going to have a big game. But for those that want to continue to do that because they're not me and they don't have bad luck, where can they find you guys on those Sunday mornings and other days? But let's start with Sunday mornings to get those last second piece of advice.
Yeah, well, you can find us on TikTok. We're live. We're also on YouTube. Again, the Fantasy Gods, right? So GAWDS, the Gods, right?
It's right up there. It's right in between you guys. You can't go
right
point
there.
like that. Yeah, you're right there.
All right.
Yeah, right
So we're there Tuesdays and Sundays. So Tuesday nights and Sunday mornings to help you guys out. You're always welcome to shoot us DMs, either in our TikTok page, questions on YouTube, or even on our personal Twitter. So that we have tons of opportunities for you guys to come chat with us. And the cool thing about us is we answer damn near every question that we can. Like, it's pretty much 90%. If you ask, you're going to get your question answered.
Well, no, I don't know. I got to say that's a lie. Because I got to bring you guys on the show because I've been in Justin's live and I said, hey, and I've asked him a question and he completely ignores it.
I don't see it. I didn't see. If I see
know
you,
it.
I'm answering. If I see you, I'm answering. 100%.
Well, I actually requested to jump on with you to give you some advice because you had a bad call once. You're talking about basketball. Yeah, I said request to join. I'm not on TikTok a lot. See, people always have this misconception that because you create content that you're on there scrolling through all the time.
Yeah.
Because something happened with this dude that I didn't know, and he kind of called me out, and I had to set him straight. And someone's like, "How do you not know who he is?" I'm like, because I'm not necessarily going through looking for other people's content. I'm kind of creating mine. And if someone sends me something and I'm like, oh, cool, then I'll stitch it or do edit or whatever, because I know that's how you work the algorithm. But I don't, you know how many people are on there? There's 80 billion people on TikTok. There's no way I'm going to know everybody.
No way.
Yeah. So that being said, I was like, hey, let me jump on.
I'm
not on there that much. I'm not.
Me and you will definitely get a TikTok live in soon. I just, like I said, and see it come in. I get so much stuff, and half the time I'm looking at YouTube.
I know it happens. It happens. I know it comes when they start coming fast with those questions. So I was gonna say, I appreciate because you're like, okay, that person, start this person. That person, start this person. I'm like, how do you go so fast? Because I need a minute. I need to register for a second. All right, well, let me think about it. This is the matchup. This is where it's going. So I appreciate how quickly you guys go through it and give your advice.
Yep.
I'm not going to ask you specifics. Well, start or sit this person or that person, but are there any players this week that you're thinking, hey, these are the guys you I don't want to say must starts. The other guys always come out with these starts of the week and the sits of the week. Is there of the name people, right? We're not going to talk about that third stringer who's going to break. Of the name people, is it this is a bad matchup for Aaron Rodgers? If you have somebody else, sit Aaron Rodgers. Those are the ones I'm talking about. Is there any of those that come to mind?
Ooh, that's
tough. It's tough right now because earlier in the week and in the middle of the week, there's a lot of people out of games, or we don't know what the weather looks like. So it's tough to go 100%. There's not a lot of games on the calendar this week. There's a few teams on bye. One of the person with the new opportunity, though, is David Montgomery with Khalil Herbert hitting the IR. I think David Montgomery has an opportunity to show more of that RB2 value that he's had in the past, as opposed to, where he's been playing more as a RB3 or even flex option as of late. So Khalil Herbert being on IR presents a new opportunity for this Bears team that is kind of clicking right now against Atlanta. So David Montgomery, to me, is a player you can get in your lineups, maybe expect 80 yards and a touchdown.
Speaking of that game, I'll get to you in 1 second. Speaking of that game, Cordero Patterson came back, didn't look great. Do you think he gets better this week against the worst rushing defense in the history of football? I mean, in the league this year?
100%. I think last week was a short week too. And that's something to take note of. He had just come back off of IR, played in the game on Sunday. He was thrown out Thursday. A little bit of a short week for him. I think they were trying to manage his reps, even though he looked good. That's just something to note. And when you talk about knowing the game or knowing football, knowing fantasy, sometimes those little things are what separates you from the crowd.
I hate those Thursday games. And I'm not talking even fantasy, just in football in general. I hate the, play Sunday, play Thursday. It's anyone who's played football. And I mean, I haven't played football since high school, but still, there's no way I'd be ready to play again. Dan, who you got?
Yeah, I'll just segment off of that. Yeah, I think the NFL needs to totally revamp how they decide Thursday night games. Hey, maybe, the person or the team that is on a Thursday night had a bye the week before, just something.
I feel like they used to do that.
It's got to be that way,
from
man.
it.
It's tough. I don't know why.
And if they go play in Germany now,
right?
Because I feel there's gonna be a team.
Miles
there's gonna be a team. Can I make a suggestion? I know we're talking Fed. Tell me what you guys think. And I know Saturday is for college. I get it. But like, if you want to have
don't do it. Don't do it.
Move a premier game from college to Thursday and give it like crazy spotlight, and then have that Thursday game move to Saturday. One Saturday game Friday.
Nope. They need to just go Sunday, Monday. I feel like that's already enough. And I know they stretch it out with Thursday games and then Saturday games later on. You got to give these guys time to rest and recover. We're not getting a very good product.
I don't want the Thursday. I'm with you. I want the Thursday game out.
Yeah.
When college is over, or like doing okay, fine. Put some Saturday games on, fine, I guess, for the play. But I'm with you guys. All right.
I would be okay if they changed Thursday to Friday night. I know it's the high school Friday Night Lights, but hey, man, just move it down one. And it's Friday Night Lights again. Again, the pro version.
I don't think that'll work, only because there's a lot of players who want to see their kids on Friday and coaches.
Sure. No, that's totally understandable.
Yeah. So I get that. So let's just go back to Sundays. And you know what? If you want to have two games, do two on Monday night. Do remember they do the doubleheader sometimes, like the first week of the season.
First week.
You do that doubleheader Monday. Do the doubleheader Monday. I'm okay with that.
I actually like that.
I like that idea.
I'm good with that.
All right. We got 1 minute left. Who you got this week? Bears or the Atlanta Falcons? The Bears. You're a good kid.
Of course. Of course.
He only said that because I said the Bears' favorite team is the Eagles, but whatever. I'll still keep them around for a bit. All right. Parting shots, guys. We got a couple minutes left. You can find the Fantasy Gods on TikTok, on YouTube. Go check them out. Any parting words? It could be anything, because I know you do basketball as well.
Yes.
Bills. Wait, I'm gonna start here. Dan, Bills still going to the Super Bowl?
Of course. Never gonna stop believing, man. That's just what we do. At the end of the day, I'm happy either way. But yeah, we need a redemption after those 13 seconds. It still hurts me.
All right, he's a dad joke of the day. He's a believer. All right.
Believer.
All right. What do we got? Anything? Basketball, football.
Well, since you called the parting shot, I'm gonna take a shot at my counterpart over there and say that the Dolphins are gonna be one of the best teams in the AFC, win the AFC East. They are legit with Tua.
This season?
They're taking the AFC East.
Dolphins winning the AFC East. All right, you heard it here on the Fantasy Grill. Until next week, now you're more fluent.
Well, thanks to Anthony and the Fantasy Gods for the Fantasy Grill. Maple Leafs are in the second period. New Jersey leads 2-1. Also, this weekend on Saturday is a big, huge wrestling event from AEW. All Elite Wrestling. It's Full Gear and myself, Martina Barnett, and Giancarlo Lino discuss wrestling on the Wrestling Show, preview AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view this Saturday. Also, myself and Giancarlo preview Bellator 288 coming up right now. Hey everybody, welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the wrestling show. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. Welcome to Giancarlo Lino and Slam host Martina Barnett. By the way, the Slam, special edition of the Slam on Fem Friday. Tomorrow, Fem Friday, we got an outstanding Friday for you. But it's Thursday, it's wrestling. You know what that means. Get it, Giancarlo? Let's start off with you, all right? Let's start off in the WWE. Let's start off in returns. Are you returning as Doink the Clown to the WWE?
No. There's
Has
a
there
rumor
been any
killer there.
offers made?
No.
Okay. So what did you think? Let's start off on SmackDown. Do you remember what happened on SmackDown last week? No.
No. You have to refresh my memory there. SmackDown I didn't really watch. I saw Raw.
All right. Anything good happened on SmackDown last week?
We saw the Usos retained, and they became the longest reigning tag team champions of all time, defeating the New Day, and that was monumental. And Roman Reigns was about to congratulate, or should I say, acknowledge them. We know we acknowledge him, but he was about to acknowledge them, and then the Brawling Brutes came out and rudely interrupted him, and also Drew McIntyre. And, a fight ensued. And so he never got to truly acknowledge the Usos. But I acknowledge the Usos. They defeated the New Day. They stole their title of the longest reigning tag team champions. Now the Usos. Kudos to the Usos.
All right. Anything else happen on SmackDown that you want to talk about?
That was the main thing I remember.
Okay, so basically nothing. All right. Now let's get to Raw and Giancarlo. Okay, I know you came up with this for Matt Riddle. You're playing the bongs with Matt Riddle. What are they doing with Matt Riddle here? And by the way, I'm going to spoil this. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to say this. Everybody thinks it's Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, everything like that. And Cody Rhodes will be involved in this is what I have just heard last night. There's two titles, There's the WWE title and then there's the Undisputed title. Well, Cody Rhodes said when he did the promo, he said, this thing's cutting off. I don't, Martina, do you want to do, I don't know what's going on now. I don't know. This thing's cutting off.
You want me to send you a StreamYard link?
If it cuts off, it cuts off. Anyways, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but Cody Rhodes said when he did the promo that Dusty told him, he's going to be WWE champion, not world champion, WWE champion. So you could see Cody Rhodes heading into the WWE championship. Now, plan number one, everybody knows it. The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Okay? Plan number two. Giancarlo, do you want to know what plan number two is? This is, and I'm not joking here. I have heard this. This is solid. Do you know what plan number two is?
I think I have an idea.
Go.
Does it have to do with any free agent possibly joining WWE?
No, it's not a free agent. Not that I have heard. That can change, but not that I have heard.
Okay, so I don't know.
It's not a free agent. Roman Reigns is what? Family, heritage, and all that. Martina, do you know what plan number two is?
Having Jay betray him, or something with Jay. It's definitely going to be something with Jay.
You're wrong. Do you know what plan number two is? Come on.
It's got to be something with Jay. Tension has been brewing between those two for 2020. They got to do something there.
No.
Oh, God.
No,
don't say it.
No.
It's not Sami Zayn. Isn't
not
he injured or something?
It's not Sami Zayn. It's not Kevin Owens, even though you'll see them probably at Survivor Series. Come on. Now, I'm just going to say this. I'll give you a hint. And if you get from this hint suspended for the show. All right? That's it. I'll do it myself. Listen, Roman Reigns is now in legendary territory. There's your hint.
Oh, Matt Cardona.
Matt Cardona, a legend with toy fingers.
Say Matt Cardona.
The returning Randy Orton. Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania. Legend status. And if Randy Orton wins, I believe it will be his 15th title.
I'm sorry, that was kind of anticlimactic. That is not what I was expecting you to say.
He's a legend killer.
Yeah, and I like Randy Orton.
I mean, I like him too. I like him.
I just don't want to see that.
Yeah, right. Like,
wait a minute. I didn't say it's not going to be wah 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 whatever. I said Doink the Clown is here. All right, so like, look, here it is. Triple H, good friends with Roman Reigns. Triple H booking everything, and who is he else good friends with? Is
the entire roster.
Right.
Roster, but Randy Orton, legendary family again. Cowboy
Isn't
Bob
he recovering from surgery?
Yes, and if you've seen it, he posted up to WWE. He plans to be back, and the quote unquote says he'll return to his legendary status.
Shouldn't he be? Okay, I'll just give my take on that. I would personally rather see Orton turn on Riddle and see them feud.
Yeah.
Do you think Riddle's big enough to take on Randy Orton right now when they already are grooming him? Seems like for Roman Reigns.
Well, I think he could be a good stepping stone, if you will. I think he's improved, but they are going to need to give him his own moves back because he's been doing, the RKO, calling it the Bro KO, and he's been doing a lot of Randy's moves and things like that. So they are going to need to give him his own identity back somehow. But yeah, I think he could do it.
You're correct in that. So I'll give you further the plan from what I heard. Randy Orton, surprise entrance, Royal Rumble, throws out Matt Riddle, then has a feud with him, leading to Elimination Chamber, not in the match, just a match, fighting Riddle with a caveat. The winner of that gets a title shot. That's what I have heard. Could be wrong, but usually I'm never wrong. Ask Martina.
Let's hope it is wrong.
Everybody wants to see Rock versus Roman Reigns. All right. Now let me ask you a question seriously, and we'll get back to Raw and all this. Okay. Rock, Roman Reigns. Rock is not going to be here for long. So does Roman Reigns win?
Yes.
Yes. You're biased.
Yeah. They could go both ways, like with Cena and The Rock. The Rock beat Cena the first time, and then he went to go film, I think it was Fast 6. So
finally,
do it.
Giancarlo gets something correct at the end of 2022. Wow. All right, correct. Because if you look at it, WrestleMania 40 is already plugged for Philadelphia. By the way, Rock already has a penciled movie coming up in 2024, starting in late November, December 2023 to 2024 till end of February. WrestleMania 40 is in April in Philadelphia. There you go. Could be Rock, Roman Reigns, Part 2. That means 2 for you don't know if you know speak French, all right? Part 2, all right? So that, again, but it's Triple H. He likes to think outside the box and everything like that. So that's what I have heard. And if you look at it, it's outside the box. Nobody has heard Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton.
Because nobody wants to see that, Joe.
Well,
nobody wants to see that.
That's my point. When you already limit them saying we're going to get Roman Reigns and The Rock, presumably everybody's talking about it. Mm-hmm. And then you take away The Rock and you have maybe Seth Rollins against Cody Rhodes again as the semi-main event. Now,
new feud.
Another thing, I just want to touch on this one. Everybody thinks Sasha and Naomi are coming back next week for Survivor Series. Giancarlo, don't you think that?
I think Sasha for sure. Naomi, I think, could be following the match.
Well,
Joe, I haven't had a time to give my
all right,
37 cents, not 2 cents,
Your
but
three
37
cents.
cents.
You're biased. That's why you had no 3 cents, and you're gonna say, "Oh, the match is close and all that."
But
Go.
it's like that Batista gif where he was, remember he did cut that promo where he was yelling at Triple H. He's like, "Give me what I want." That's what this is like with The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Like they've set it up. It's like it's too far gone now. You can't do all this, feeding the press, feeding the dirt sheets. You know how they do, like putting that thought in our minds. Like it's there now. Like you got to do it. You got to follow through. You got to give us what and they've been playing into it too. Like Roman and The Rock in their own interviews. They've been. They won't give a straightforward answer. Like they got to do it. They got to pull the trigger on that.
So,
personally, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to say this. Why there may be a plan and change. The XFL, of course, owned by The Rock and Danny Garcia, former wife of The Rock, and also the XFL starting in February. They did their draft this week. If The Rock's more hands-on, it's going to be hard for him to train for a WrestleMania match plus stuff. He is meeting with Triple H this week about it. It wouldn't surprise me if they have a successful meeting that The Rock teases something via satellite at Survivor Series. Remember,
Well,
there's no pay-per-view in December. There's no pay-per-view in December. And the next Premier Live event, Premier Live event is the Royal Rumble. The next Premier Live event is the Royal Rumble 2 months down the road. So when I say they could tease something, this is a perfect time to tease. NXT's having a Premier Live event December 10th. We'll talk about that. But there's no WWE Premier Live event till January. Go ahead, Martina.
Well, I was just gonna say, The Rock told us it's about drive and it's about power. So he's got it. He's booked and busy as it is. So I'm like, oh come on, Dwayne, you can do it. He's always busy. I feel like he could do it. I feel like if he's good at he's the people's champ. He gives us
Yeah,
what we want.
but my
I think
original
he'll do it.
question was, who wins that? Roman Reigns or The Rock?
Roman. I told you, Roman Reigns.
You're biased. I need somebody biased.
No. I'm not biased. I use facts, and this is why. What would be the point of spending 2+ years building Roman up as an unstoppable force of nature, breaking all these records just to have The Rock to break it? To me, that would be kind of silly when The Rock is going to leave 2 weeks later.
Actually,
that would be ridiculous.
If you look at how wrestling works, so they build him up, and The Rock just beat the best wrestler. He's the head of the tribal chief.
No, I don't like it.
Here, I know you're biased, but here, and then I'll get to Giancarlo. Who is, if The Rock wins, whoever wins that match is the ultimate tribal chief, right?
The Rock will have to acknowledge Roman.
Of the chiefs, of the high chief. Again, I said this to you, Giancarlo, a year ago. What did they build The Rock as? Martina, you got to listen to me because I write this stuff. What did they build this? His grandfather was High Chief Peter Maivia. High Chief is bigger than Tribal Chief. They're going to do, if this fight match occurs, they're going to do, you know what? My grandfather was High Chief. You may be Tribal Chief. What the hell's Tribal Chief when I have High Chief? That's how they're going to build it because he is High Chief. Roman is the Tribal Chief. So, do you acknowledge a High Chief or a Tribal Chief? You're biased. I know who you're going to be acknowledging. Giancarlo? Yeah, put that one up. Okay, you acknowledge. So you got to put a 2 up then because you acknowledge the High Chief is bigger than the Tribal Chief. I'm asking you, is the High Chief bigger than the Tribal Chief?
May I speak now, please?
No, I'm asking you a question.
Well, the thing about that is, I'm sorry, but I don't know. I need to go do some research because you might be wrong. I might need to do some Googling on Samoan tribal hierarchies because I'm not
All right,
sure.
let Giancarlo talk. You do the Googling and tell me what you come up with. High chief or tribal chief? Giancarlo, which one is higher? Which one is bigger?
Are they
Which one
both the
is-
same? I don't know either. Are they both the same?
Listen.
Kind of means the same thing. The tribe or the high
No,
chief.
To
Like
the
I don't know.
untrained, un-Samoan ear, they sound awfully similar. I'm not Samoan, no disrespect, but they're gonna have to tell me. I don't know but here's the thing about that though. Just like you said yourself earlier with John Cena, they always have the passing of the torch, right? Hulk Hogan put The Rock over, passing the torch. John Cena, The Rock put John Cena over, passing the torch. John Cena put Roman over, passing the torch. Would it really make sense that to drop the passing of the torch tradition now? Is that really what we want to do?
Who knows what they're gonna do? But you mentioned John Cena, so I'm gonna give a spoiler, and I know Giancarlo's popping for this one. He's got his selfies out and everything. John Cena will not be taking on Austin Theory. He will be taking on at WrestleMania. Now, you want something huge? This is huge. Logan
Oh yeah.
Paul. Logan Paul. John Cena, you can't see him. Logan Paul, you can see him because he's FaceTiming me. All right? John Cena and Logan Paul. Giancarlo, since you haven't talked in 3 minutes, go ahead.
I don't think Logan Paul will be cleared if with a torn MCL, ACL, and
Listen, he's already
I think he
training.
has
He's already trading. That was kayfabe. That was kayfabe for more moolah. By the way, Logan Paul, if you want to come on here, Martina will give you her salary for the Fired Up Fem Network to come. Yeah, you want to give her your
Logan should
salary?
pay me.
Listen, you will give yourself for. You want Logan Paul. You like Logan Paul. You want to see what's next for Logan Paul, right? Now, wait a minute. Hold on. That brings me to another point here. Logan Paul, that match was great. If Logan Paul could do that to the Roman Reigns, The Rock definitely wins. Don't tell me High Chief, Peter Chief, whatever Chief, Kentucky Fried Chicken Chief. Doesn't matter. Rock.
Wrong with you? Well, listen, okay, I was going to say I was surprised. I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised. I was like, oh my God, here we go, another privileged, entitled, overhyped influencer coming to WWE. Here we go. I was expecting them to just go through the motions. I did not think that he was really going to be as good as he is. And I do think he is good. I'll give him his respect. I do think he's quite good. However, do we I don't know if I need to see him against John Cena. I would rather him be against someone younger in
I
a
got
full
the
time.
match. I'm going to tell Triple H this. I know Triple H is watching here, all right? And because Giancarlo is stunned, I want to see, if it's WrestleMania, I want to see the two superstars, Bad Bunny and Logan Paul. Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, with the winner getting millions and Titus O'Neil, referee, millions and millions of dollars. All right?
I hear the dollar signs. I hear cha-ching, cha-ching, ching, 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 ching,
And by the
ching.
way, Paul, your good Jewish friend, not Maxwell Jacob Friedman, all right? Not Samoa Joe who called you out last night on AEW Dynamite, all right? Your good Jewish friend, me, the president of the province of Canada. If you do that, talk to Triple H, I get some shekels, all right? Go ahead.
Why don't they do Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins? I think that would be good.
No,
I
that
would like
wouldn't.
to see that.
No, that wouldn't.
Let me finish. I don't want to see, personally, my 2 cents, my 37 cents. I don't want to see Logan or Rollins versus Cody because we have seen it before. There are other people on that roster. I say this every show. There are other people on the roster. We don't have to keep running it back. Not just them, but all the promotions do this. Stop doing the same match over and over and over again. So give somebody else a chance. Put it with Karrion Kross or somebody. Put it with someone else. Rollins is not the only worthy opponent for Cody. And Roman isn't either. There are other people on that roster.
I didn't say it's going to be Seth Rollins. I know who's going to battle Cody. All right? I'll tell you right now. There's two people I have heard. One, Shelton Benjamin. And next one, Mustafa Ali.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right. Don't get sidetracked. Let's talk about Raw. Anything? Start off with Giancarlo here. Anything from Raw?
The Miz is a Hall of Famer. That's all I gotta say. Just coming
That's
out to the
true.
ring and being
With
that
the
phony
cardigan.
baby face,
The cardigan, man.
ruining
Strong
that
like
kid's
fire.
hair in the front row. He probably signed it. He probably didn't even sign his name on that poster. He probably signed something else on there that we can't repeat. But he is just great at working a crowd, and it just shows how great he is because Johnny Gargano, the crowd was kind of silent, and the Miz got the entire arena to chant Johnny Wrestling. So that's a guy that no matter what he's involved in, he ends up being the highlight of the feud. So he deserves a lot more credit than that.
Yes, he does. Maybe he wins the belt. Go ahead.
I agree with you. I tweeted something similar. I said that The Miz is a much better actor than he gets credit for because he is good. Like, I'll give him that. He is very good at staying in character and acting a clown and being very like despisable, but sticking with it. Like, he commits to it. He's good. I'll give him that. He's very good. And I think his character work is unmatched. Like you said, Johnny Gargano does not get the crowd reactions that I think they want him to get, but Miz is good. He's really good at egging the crowd on and getting crowd reactions, good or bad. And so I'll definitely give him that. I think that he is, and he's also something else that I like about him. He's good at putting people over. I don't think he gets enough credit for that, putting younger or newer people over and making you root for them over him. He's good. I like him. I think he is a future Hall of Famer. I don't think he gets his flowers enough.
And the Miz, since he started to now, he's worked his ass off. Put it that way. He's worked, and you know what? Honestly, you talk about Seth Rollins, but Miz is in top 3 or 5 in WWE the last 10 years, right? And no matter what people want to say, he's always in main event feuds. He's always involved around, and people are talking about. Remember, he's the one that they started with this Logan Paul crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one with the Bad Bunny crap, right? So it's like you can't forget that. And again, I expect maybe we could see some big things from the Miz here. And by the way, for people, Johnny Gargano from Cleveland, all right, Wardlow from Cleveland, all right, Miz from Cleveland. By the way, they're going to lose to the Buffalo Bills this Sunday. Bank on it. All right. So anything else from Raw, Martina?
I thought it was. I can't remember if this was SmackDown or Raw, but I thought it was interesting that they're starting a feud with Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. I didn't see that one coming. I thought that was unique. I didn't know who his first.
Feud. That's going to be one match. History finished, gone, kaput, finished.
Oh, well, he headbutted him, so I thought it was going to be a little bit more.
No,
there.
it's not a feud. It's not a feud. That's not a feud. LA Knight. Hey, let me talk to you. LA Knight is not going to get a feud with Bray Wyatt. You know who he's going to get a feud with? Shelton Benjamin. End of story. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd be good for that. Yeah, both of them are been around a long time. Give them something to do.
All right. Now, Martina, just let me and Giancarlo speak for a second. Tuesday on NXT, my first wife, Mandy Rose, proved why she is my first wife and not my third wife or seventh wife or 19th wife. All right. She is still the NXT Ladies Champion. Let's all acknowledge her. Giancarlo. Come on, Giancarlo Marti. I know you're not going to do it. Oh, she's doing it. Martina's doing it. See, you recognize greatness. She has learned under me. She has learned everything here, and kudos.
I acknowledge you, wise man.
At least you get more airtime now. Go ahead. Speak about my wife. Go ahead. You get more airtime.
She looks great. I don't, and it's not that I dislike Mandy. I really don't. I don't have any beef with Mandy. I just simply don't watch NXT. I don't have any beef with her at all. I think she's beautiful. I thought it was cute how she did the whole Brie Bella thing, like wearing the ball cap. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but Brie Bella like quote tweeted her like with the like question emoji. because people were basically saying she was going for that same type of thing. But yeah, I think she's had a very impressive reign. And, like I said, I don't watch the NXT action, but I respect anyone who reigns for a long time and is a strong title holder.
So hold on, before Giancarlo interrupts here, I'm going to say this. You don't know. This wasn't a Brie Bella thing. This was a tribute to Otis. Otis liked that, okay? Otis, I vouched it. I said Otis can't do nothing. He's getting a push there. He's eating more cheeseburgers, more going to Wendy's, going to Arby's, going to Harvey's, going to wherever. Come on, Otis, give Otis a chance. And what do? They make him win, and they make Chad Gable win. And then I said, where's something similar to what the Bellas, but don't be like the Bellas, because I'm not saying it. All right, Giancarlo, anything from NXT?
Yeah, I think they have to move them up to the main roster. Like, it's developmental. She's been champion now for over a year. Like, we're wasting time now. Like, let's move her up to the main roster. She's been on the main roster before. That she already redid her character. They repackaged her. It worked. So the more time she's spending down in developmental, it's only going to be a waste in the long run. So it's better they just move her up to Raw or SmackDown and like start making money off her repackaged character.
Well, you want to know who's coming up to the main roster? He's going to be pushed to the moon. Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes. Are you excited, Giancarlo, for that?
Put him with JBL. I like it.
Yes. Martina, acknowledge it. Come on.
Um,
no money then.
I can't speak on Cameron Grimes, but when you said JBL, I just got triggered because I don't know who told them that they need to refer to Baron Corbin as the modern day wrestling god like 57 times per episode, but they need to be slapped. Pow, 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 pow. Stop it. Please stop. Does that bother you guys? Because the modern day wrestling god, they say it like 12,000 times per episode. I'm like, stop it. Stop it. It is so irritating.
Jinder Mahal needs to be in JBL's the modern day Maharaja. Perfect for JBL's thing.
That's true.
Of course. He came back and on SmackDown and then whatever. All right.
They didn't give him enough acknowledgement, I think. Like, did y'all notice that? Like, they didn't even, I don't even remember them even saying anything. Like, he said a few words and then it was done. I was like, dang, they did not acknowledge him.
You like to be acknowledged. I'll tell you who likes to be acknowledged. Let's go to AEW. They got a big pay-per-view that we'll preview coming up next, but let's talk about Dynamite. Acknowledge this, all right? Acknowledge that the elite, come on, Giancarlo, you sing it better. The elite. Anyways, they're coming back for Saturday's Full Gear. By the way, Saturday's Full Gear is going to be 4 hours. Martina, you're going to do the after show at 12:30 a.m. Look, see, I'm putting her on the spot. No, don't worry.
Okay.
No, don't worry. You're not going to do 12:30 a.m. Giancarlo sleep at, but AEW, really, this looks like an amazing card. We'll touch on that, like I said, a couple seconds. But before, Martina, I know, listen, this is your Christmas hot present right here. I'm going to show you right now what it is. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Giancarlo too.
Hey everybody, Andy McNamara with you. Who else is ready for this Saturday night, November 19th, for Full Gear All Elite Wrestling's massive pay-per-view? I know I am. And you're going to be able to order, if you're outside the United States, you can order in Canada, UK, lots of other places from Fight TV, my guys at Fight TV. Now, there are places where you cannot, so make sure your location applies. But Fight TV has you covered if you're outside the USA. And to say thank you for all your support with Fight TV, they were so kind to give me a free code to give away to you. One lucky person is going to be able to win the Full Gear AEW pay-per-view to see the World Championship Jon Moxley versus MJF, the Ocho Chris Jericho, defending the ROH title in a four-way battle. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus the returning Saraya. We have Toni Storm, the women's champ, the Acclaimed, the tag team champ. Lots and lots and lots of AEW action, the best wrestling in the world. So this is all you got to do. You go to Twitter, go to @firedupnet, Follow them. Follow me at AndyMC81 and follow at Fight TV. Retweet the tweet from at FiredUpNet you see this video in and reply with your favorite AEW wrestler. Very easy, very simple, and you can win AEW's Full Gear this Saturday night. Don't you dare miss it.
Thank you, Andy McNamara, Billy Red Lions. All right. So there you go. You can win because Giancarlo, I know, is cheap. He always goes this 1,000 streams and all that. You can actually win to see Full Gear. All right. Thank you to Andy. Thank you to Fight TV and everything like that. Martina, wait a minute. I am really excited about Dynamite last night. You know what? Me and Giancarlo, he was scissoring me, Daddy-O! He was scissoring me, Daddy-O! What a music video! Giancarlo, from 1 to 10, rate the music video. I felt like 1982 with Cyndi Lauper. Girls just want to have fun. I felt like scissoring you. Come on, Giancarlo.
I actually did not see the music video.
Oh, my gosh. I set it up. Martina, help me out here.
You didn't miss anything, Giancarlo. I'm sorry. I thought it was whack. I'm sorry. I was not feeling it. So for those that didn't see it, basically the whole thing, it was not a music video. It was a diss track against Swerve and Keith Lee, where they had two guys that did not look
Captain Insano, the Paul White, the Big Show.
Oh, yeah, that I saw.
Okay, him aside. I like the Big Show, not him. But the Swerve and Keith Lee imposters that looked nothing like them. They had nothing in common with Keith and Lee, Keith and Swerve, other than just being black. That was the only thing they had in common. They just had a heavyset dude, a dude with locks, and they basically were mocking Keith Lee and Swerve. And it was just various disses. And I do think that Max Caster is he's a better rapper on a track than he is live. But I thought it was kind of funny when they did Swerve and they said, how you going to be a mogul and you can't rap? That was kind of funny. But so I should say it was whack. I should just say it was comical. It's just like they are. They're comical. They're a comedy act. That it suited their purpose. I thought it was funny in that regard, but it wasn't but honestly, here's the thing. I think it's kind of interesting that Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose go harder on Twitter than the Acclaim does in their raps. The girls are more hard hitting because Jade Cargill is currently in a feud with Bow Wow on Twitter. I don't know if you guys have seen that. She goes harder than the dudes. You know what I mean? I'm the disses that they give are very haha, that's funny, but it's not oh, he ruined him, he ended him. It's not like that.
Martina's just upset, Giancarlo.
You got to manage your expectations, I guess.
Yeah, Martina's just upset because she wasn't scissored and she did not get the pink Scissor Me Daddy O shirt that Giancarlo I sent to you, and I'm surprised you're not even wearing that pink Scissor Me Daddy O shirt. Why aren't you wearing it, Giancarlo?
Must have went to a wrong address.
Your dad told me. Got it. Maybe your dad's wearing it, eh? All right. So that's it. But again, it wasn't a music video. It wasn't anything like that. So, but that we'll talk about the upcoming match. Now, on Dynamite also, we saw Claudio Castagnoli Cesaro actually make Chris Jericho, yes, Ocho, tap out. Giancarlo, your thoughts? Because they have a 4-way dance there with Daniel Bryan, with Sammy Guevara and all that. Do you think Chris Jericho will be tapping out?
I think that was going to end up being a very forgetful moment in AEW because I think Jericho's just going to get the win back at the pay-per-view. So I think this whole thing would be meaningless now. Made him tap on TV, but when it really matters and when something's on the line, Jericho is going to get his revenge.
Martina?
I agree. And I also, speaking of, everyone knows I'm a Jericho fan. I don't know if you guys saw, he got unmasked on The Masked Singer.
Yeah.
He was the Dragon Bride. I thought that was the funniest thing ever. That literally everyone knew it was him. Even if you only heard Jericho speak one time in your life, you'd be like, that's definitely him. He did not disguise his voice very well. And so everybody and their mom knew it was him. So he got unmasked. I thought that was more entertaining than that match, to be real with you, because I agree with you that that match last night to me, it felt kind of like stalling, just something to tide us over to get us to Full Gear, which I understand. I understand they have to. You got to fill your books to that point, but I agree with him that I'm pretty sure Jericho is going to retain. The only way I can see Jericho not retaining is if Danielson doesn't upset. He's the only other person I could see upsetting.
We'll talk about that. I got some thoughts on that. Let the end being saved by my good Jewish friend. For those who don't know, it's Michael Jacob Friedman. And if you saw after, I urge you to check out YouTube or Twitter. After that, he's praising Tony Khan. He says he loves WWE, but if it wasn't for Tony Khan, who gives competition, so again, if Tony Khan's your boss, why are you praising him after the feud? You know, you had a feud with him and all that. Why? Because I'll tell you why. Because you're going to get the world title very, very soon. Giancarlo, what do you think of that?
Yeah, he might get the world title very, very soon, but he's going to lose it very, very soon to our Canadian guy, All Ego Ethan Page.
Yeah. Right. Okay, yeah. All right. Ethan Page, come on. I love Ethan Page. Good Hamilton boy, eh? I sound like you know who, but good Hamilton boy. All right, but MJF, you can take the Hamilton boy, and you're not going to meet my good Jewish friend. My Jewish friend, they got the storyline set. If they do this storyline, it's magic. It is magic, because he is a free agent January 2024. January 2024. So they can milk this, winning the title for a year. Is he going to sign or not? Or I'm going to leave with the world title. Like some guy who was in AEW a couple weeks ago who hasn't been, and that was the hottest he was ever in the WWE. John Cena.
It rhymes with DM Dunk.
Slam Dunk, yeah, DM Dunk, whatever you want to call him. And interesting here's another interesting thing, Martina, you'll take it away. They showed that we're going to have the Trios Tag Team title or Trios title match at the pay-per-view with Death Triangle versus the Elite. The Elite. But no mention of Dink Dunk 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 whatever. Why?
Well, I hope people saw this coming. You know, they've been doing vignettes for weeks with the Elite appearing and disappearing and burning out of focus, and we knew they were coming back. I personally, in this situation, I kind of feel bad for Death Triangle because I don't feel like they really got their real time to shine with the titles. We only saw them compete a handful of times in the time that the Elite was gone, and I feel that, you know, I'm pretty sure they're going to put the titles on the Elite. I feel like Death Triangle just didn't get the proper time to showcase what they really can do. Like, we've seen them in some amazing matches, absolutely, but with the titles, I don't think they've had their proper time to shine. And I would have loved to have seen them in a feud with House of Black. You know, I understand that for the titles, I mean, like a title match. I would have liked to have seen them in a title match, a trios title match with House of Black. But to answer your question, we knew the Elite was coming back, but yeah, with CM Punk, I think I just am of the mind. I think he's going to be done. I don't think we're going to see him back anytime soon. I do believe that they're doing the whole writing his contract out thing, buying it out, whatever word you want to use. I don't think we're going to see him back.
Okay, so but back in W or back in wrestling?
I don't think we're going to see him back in wrestling. I think it's going to take an act of God to get Triple H to sign him, because we know that in real life, they had real life beef for real, before all this happened. So unless there is some major dollar signs, I personally don't think that's going to happen. And given the way that he EW'd, I mean, is that really what they want? I don't know. And he's injured, you know, he's very injury prone. His own words, what really stuck with me, one of the things that stuck with me from that All Out scrum, he said out of his own mouth, I am old, I'm tired, and I'm in pain. Those are not the words of a man that you should be signing. I rest my case.
But if that man can cause a stir and everybody's talking about it and you make money off it, is it what now New Age wrestling is all about?
Not if he says out of his own mouth that he is old.
Well, he
Old,
is
tired,
old.
and in
And
pain.
he is every match he got injured. He had 2-3 matches he was injured.
Right. He's injured every other. I think last show, Giancarlo said if he doesn't get injured walking to the ring, I don't mean to laugh at the man's pain, but he is very injury prone. That's just a fact. He's injured currently. So I just don't really. How much money would they really make off of him if we're really real?
I'll go each one, and then we'll do the Full Gear preview here. Giancarlo, I'll start off with you. If you're WWE or AEW or NWA or Impact Wrestling, if given a chance, do you sign CM Punk? Yes or no?
Only if it makes sense. I'm not just signing him for the sake of it. Like Bobby Lashley's 47 years old, and look at his longevity in WWE. CM Punk's like 43, 44, and he got injured in his last 3 matches. So I would look at the situation, and if it's worth the headache that he brought to AEW to bring into WWE again, then maybe.
Martina?
Yeah, pretty much what he said. The reason why let me put it to you like this: with the information that we have now, I don't see it happening anytime soon, unless, like I said, unless there would. I think the only way I could see it happening is if there was some major something happening, like a major new streaming deal or something. It would have to be something more than the information that we have currently, because like we've established, he's very injury prone. He left WWE on a chaotic note. He left AEW on a chaotic note. There is a pattern, like you cannot deny that facts are facts. Like wherever this man goes, chaos ensues. And even though I do like Punk, I just don't know if it's worth it anymore. And if anything, they might do it just to troll AEW. I do know that WWE is not above pettiness. I will say that they're not above pettiness. So if they did it, I think it would be to be petty.
All right, so it's time for the On the Mat Wrestling Show preview of AEW Full Gear, happening this Saturday, November 19th, 8 p.m. for the Prudential Center and the home of the New Jersey Devils. Let's get to the card. Let's start off with you, Martina, here. AEW TNT Championship 3-way dance. Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobb, Samoa Joe. Who you got? Why you got him? And Samoa Joe's not putting on the Ring of Honor title. It is only the TNT title.
I don't like that. I wish he would put his title on the line too. But I got to go with Wardlow. I'm a huge Wardlow fan. Who is it? You said Wardlow, Samoa Joe, and who's the third person?
Powerhouse.
Yeah, I'm with Wardlow out of that bunch.
Giancarlo.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Wardlow. I think he continues this run that he's on right now, and they're going to continue making him look strong for what's going to be following. So this whole feud going on with Samoa Joe now inserting himself, I think, is just a way for Wardlow to get a win and not take away anything from Powerhouse Hobbs.
Now, Giancarlo, you'll start off with this one. Steel cage match. Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus.
I'm going to go Jungle Boy on this. I think he's going to escape the cage. I don't think he'll get a pin or a submission. I think this is a stipulation that will help both of them. And I see Christian getting involved on the outside and probably leading to something where he's not going to get too physical because he's still recovering from that injury. So I think Jungle Boy will get the win just to further this feud.
Martina.
I agree. I do think Jungle Boy is going to win, but I do think Christian's going to get involved. Pretty much everything he just said. But I also think there's going to be someone else to get involved. I don't know who, but I think there's going to be something else because it's always the 2-on-1, right? It's always Christian and Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy. I think he needs an ally, and I think we're going to see someone come out to his benefit during this match.
All right. So, Martina, you'll start us off. We talked about this before, but AEW World Trios Championship match, Death Triangle, who has Zero Miedo, against the Elite. The Elite. Never mind. Go ahead.
I know the Elite is going to win, but I like Death Triangle. I want to see them. I've said it before. I want to see them show their skills more. I would like to see them have a better and longer reign, but I am 100% confident the Elite is going to win.
Carlo?
Yeah, I think the Elite, and I think Kenny Omega, it probably was a blessing in disguise, of suspension, because I think he returned a little too soon, just to bring some interest to All Out. But now he's been off for a month or two, and it gives him more time to heal. And I think we'll see Kenny Omega at 100%, and I think he'll get the win here for his team.
All right. Now, Giancarlo, you'll start us off. Tag team match. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, Darby Allin, and Sting.
Yeah, they went back to TNA Impact feuds from 2006 with this one. Jay Lethal's also involved, so him and Jeff Jarrett has been the Forbidden Door tag team champions because they've been all over the place. And I think Jeff Jarrett is going to break a guitar over Darby Allin's head, and Sting is going to get the win by pinning Jay Lethal. And I would not be surprised if we see Sting versus Jeff Jarrett one-on-one at Winter is Coming.
All right, Martina.
I definitely see Sting and Darby Allin winning this one as well. I'm a huge Sting fan. Love me some Sting, but I do agree that Jay all these Jays, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, they have been a formidable team. Facing Ric Flair earlier this year. So yeah, I think this is a like you said, a cool way to reinvigorate like the older fans, older meaning more long-term fans, I should say, that remember those feuds and remember that era. And at first I was a little leery of them bringing Jeff Jarrett back because I'm like, who is he going to feud with? But seeing how it's Sting, I'm cool with it. But I'm gonna have to go with Darby Allin and Sting.
So you're saying Jeff is going to have his nuts slapped. All right. So let's talk about Martina. You'll start the next three matches, ladies matches. Let's start off with the match you talked about for the TBS champion, Jade Cargill, my third wife, up against Nyla Rose, not nobody's wife.
The only correct answer here is for Jade to win. If they end Jade's undefeated streak by losing to Nyla, I will riot.
Excuse me. Never mind. Go ahead.
I will be so okay, Vicky. That would just be so trifling to me because she never lost the title to her to begin with. It was stolen, and I think the whole feud is silly. So I think this should just be a squash match. Knock that girl out and get your title back, Jade.
That's right. Giancarlo.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's going to be a lot of interference going on in this. Both their respective alliances will come out, but I think Jade has to get the win here. I don't think Nyla would be the one to take it off her. I think if they were to do that, they wouldn't have built Nyla Rose like in this comedic role type of thing where they're running away and just trying to make Jade look like the face. I think they would have done it the other way around. So I think Jade has to win that.
Yes, that is for the TBS title. The next match for the AEW ladies title, Toni Storm against Jamie Hayter. Giancarlo start us off. There's three ladies matches. Okay, three ladies matches, and the 2-1 Jade is the title, and this one's the title. But nobody's talking about that. They're talking about the third match, which is not for the title. But anyways, Giancarlo, what do you think about this one? Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm. This is going to be a physical ladies bout.
Yeah, I think this is going to be out of the three, this will probably be the better match. AEW didn't really do justice here to this title. It's still the interim title, so Toni Storm, an interim champion. I think Jamie Hayter should have won the title at All Out, but they went in another direction here with Toni Storm. So I think Toni Storm wins. She's still the interim champion. She's still not even the real champion. And then the real champion, I think Thunder Rosa is going to come out and set up their match for that show they're going to do on Dynamite. Winter is Coming. So that's how I see that playing out.
Okay, go ahead, Martina.
I agree. I mentioned this on the forthcoming episode of the Slam, shameless plug. I said the same thing that I don't know what happened here, but AEW did an awful job of promoting this match. They definitely did exactly what you guys said. They promoted Saraya and Britt Baker over the other two title matches, which makes no sense. The other two title matches, they kind of feel like an afterthought. But yes, I also agree that the fan push, Jamie Hayter is very over right now. And I just have to say, I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Tony Khan, I need him to remove this interim nonsense. It's silly. It's played out. It never made any sense to begin with, if you ask me. But at this point, it's just straight up confusing. But just like you said, Giancarlo, I do think Thunder Rosa is going to appear somehow, which again does not make sense if you ask me, because I think it should be, if you drop the title, you drop the title. Whether you're injured, whatever the case may be, if the title leaves your hands, that's just it. Toni Storm should just be the new champion. But since she is not and is still the interim champion, I do think there's going to be some interference. I do see Toni retaining because I think Thunder Rosa wants to get her title back from Toni proper. But I do think they're going to need to pull a trigger on Jamie Hayter soon, because she is very over, and we don't want to miss that over period, because the fans can be fickle. They can turn on you in a minute. So I think they do need to capitalize on her popularity at some point very soon.
All right, so Martina, you'll start us off. My dentist, DMD, up against the returning Saraya Page, whatever you want to call her, Giancarlo's tattoo artist. Go ahead, Martina.
They got me interested in this match late in the game, to be real with you. When Saraya first came, I was like, okay, cool, Paige, Saraya, okay, cool. But it was the promo that she cut, I think it was last week on Dynamite, that really got me interested. Like, it's like someone lit a fire under her, and it went from feeling more scripted to that was like a passionate, heartfelt promo when she was saying, you haven't been through what I've been through. She talked about her personal battles with drug addiction and things like that. Like, it just felt more heartfelt and genuine, and less like obligatory I'm back type of thing. So for that reason, I do see Saraya winning. I don't think Britt Baker is going to win, because if she does, I don't really think it's going to benefit her much, because it's not a title, and we all know she's title hungry. So I think that it would just make more sense to put Saraya over. It's her first match back in how many years?
Well, I think it's 7 years since she last fought. But anyways, Giancarlo, go ahead.
Yeah, I hope she doesn't get injured. This is something where it's her first match back, and of all people, she's wrestling someone she's never wrestled before, like Britt Baker. It's like she's wrestling a veteran, like Madison Rayne would have made sense. She's been around a long time and could have worked slowly into that role, but she's coming in facing Britt Baker. Like, Sasha Banks had that burden on her that she injured or ended her career. You can't say that if she comes out of it and hopefully, but I think she gets a win. I just don't know how active she'll be. Maybe she'll be like only on pay-per-views she'll wrestle, but I think they need to take it slowly with her, because similar to, it's one of those injuries that it's not like you're breaking your arm or your wrist or tearing an ACL where time will eventually make you somewhat 100%. This is final thing, and it's kind of serious. So they got to take it slowly with her return.
All right, so the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament, Ethan Page up against Lance Archer, Ricky Starks, or Brian Cage. Go ahead, Giancarlo.
Yeah, it's going to be all ego Ethan Page all the way here. He's going to be a future world champion in AEW. I'm not just saying that because got to speak to him, and he's a nice guy, but he plays a role really well as a heel.
He's
and
also Canadian, and he's the only Canadian.
He's Canadian.
He's
from Hamilton.
Yeah, only Canadian who did an interview with you.
A future Canadian superstar.
You're full of ego. Look at all ego Ethan Page, all ego Giancarlo Lino. Look at this eagleness this guy has. Martina, can you knock him down a peg?
Sorry, man. I'm gonna have to agree with him. Out of the
You're full of ego. Also, I'm dealing with egomaniacs here.
That's actually the name of his fan club right there.
The egomaniac. I like Ethan Page. They've really. I think I would give him the award for the most improved in AEW this year, because he was kind of floundering with the Men of the Year as that kind of fizzled out, and Dan Lambert. Basically, this is my theory. After Brandy left and Dan Lambert did not have anyone to spar back and forth with on the mic anymore, and him and Jericho fizzled out, Men of the Year was basically done. And so that kind of left Ethan, and honestly, I don't even know where Scorpio is right now. But Ethan was kind of hanging in the hangout, but putting him in the firm was a very good choice. It has kind of breathed some new life into his character. I don't know if people noticed this, but I noticed this, that he darkened his hair to look more heelish. If you look back when he was with Men of the Year, his hair was lighter. I noticed things like this because I'm a hair person. But I think that him reinvigorating his character to be more dominating, taking on MJF directly, I think that that's very good for him. And I foresee him winning. I do think he is a future champion. I think out of the ones in this match, because who did you say? Brian Cage, Lance Archer, and Ricky Starks. He is my favorite out of that bunch. I would like to see him win.
Carlo, you start us
Yeah,
off.
and even like Ricky Starks there, like even just to add on to that, I think it was kind of, they fizzled out his momentum with Lance Archer. I think that's a huge mistake. Like I think they have plans for him going into 2023 because they released that London poster for AEW's debut, and Ricky Starks, of all people, you wouldn't expect to be on the poster. He's like right there as a prominent figure. So Starks will eventually get his moment 3. I just think they kind of ruined him now with the way they built him up for this match.
All right, Giancarlo, you'll start us off because you're going to scissor everybody. Scissory Daddy-O, the Acclaim tag team titles up against Swerve in Our Glory. It's about time. Keith Lee makes that, swervy, and smashes his tag team partner. What do you say?
Yeah, I think Swerve is just leave Keith Lee in the ring and leave. Let him take the loss there for the team, but I think it's long overdue. I think at All Out or Grand Slam, they should have already split them up. I think Swerve as a singles competitor is a way to go. I think he has a lot of charisma. He can be on his own. Like in WWE, was in Hit Row. That even was miscast. He should have been as a single star, but AEW, him and Keith Lee, those are two guys that are single stars. And being as a tag team, it kind of ruins things a little bit, but I think after this pay-per-view, we'll see them go in the proper direction.
All right, Martina.
So wait, Giancarlo, who do you think is going to win?
Oh, I'm going to go with the Acclaim there.
Okay. I do agree with you that we've said this before, that they should have been split them up. Swerve in Our Glory worked for like 2.5 seconds. And they've been teasing the Discord for too long. Like, stop teasing it. They're edging us at this point. Like, it's time to go ahead and pull that trigger. And I do think they need to be they do need to be standalone individual competitors, like, very soon. But if they must, because I know how they like to pair people up, if they must pair Swerve with someone, maybe with Stokely Hathaway, and maybe he could assist the firm at some point because he is a diabolical heel at this point. Keith Lee, I think maybe if they must pair him with someone, I think it needs to be someone else. I think they need time to breathe on their own, though, because you're right. When they each came in, they were only singles competitors for like 2 seconds before they put them together. So long story short, I think they're going to break up. Fan-wise, I feel like the Acclaimed would be the best choice because they're still riding that wave right now. And again, fans are fickle. So I think while the fans are clamoring for them, they need to go ahead and let them win.
All right, so we got 2 matches of world title bouts here. Talk about this should be stealing the show. Ring of Honor world title match, 4-way dance. Chris Jericho, the champion, up against Leo Castanelli, Sammy Guevara, Brian Dowd, with Martina in this one.
Well, everyone knows I'm always rooting for Jericho. I'm all reliable. I'm rooting for Jericho. However,
El Ocho, say it in Spanish.
El Ocho. I'm always rooting for Chris Jericho. for a number of reasons. He's in the twilight of his career, even though he's had quite a great year, arguably one of the best years of his career. However, I think because this is a four-way dance and not a tag team bout, I do think there's going to be some discord between him and Sammy. I think that's coming because we know that heels do heelish things and heels turn on each other because they're opportunistic. I think there's going to be discord there. And I think there's also going to be some discord between Danielson and Claudio as well. I would not be surprised if we don't see some interference from the other JAS members and possibly even other Blackpool Combat Club members, because where is Wheeler? What is he doing? Does he have a match on the card at all? I don't think so. I think there might be some interference here, but at the end of the day, I see Jericho retaining.
You started off so good, and you fizzled out like the WWE. All right, Giancarlo, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a Ring of Honor world title, and where are all the Ring of Honor stars that you would think would be involved? It's all AEW guys, and it's just a secondary AEW title at this point. So I don't know why they didn't have Dalton Castle instead of Sammy Guevara, since he was that guy that came out and challenged Jericho a month ago. Why isn't like a guy like Matt Taven involved? So I don't know. This doesn't even really seem like a Ring of Honor title match. It's just like, yeah, you're a Ring of Honor alum, but you're in AEW. Let's put this title on the line just to get away with it here. So I don't really see the point of the match, even though they're all great. I just don't think having the Ring of Honor world title as something to fight for. It's like a prop at this point, but I think Jericho wins.
You guys haven't.
And then Adam Cole comes out to challenge Chris
Jericho. You guys
Jericho.
haven't learned anything at all. Oh my gosh!
Why don't you enlighten us then?
Nothing at all. I'm so disgusted with you guys. Chris Jericho, the Ayatollah of rock and roller. Bryan Danielson keeps losing bouts after bouts. Claudio Castagnoli just beat Jericho. Who's left? Why do I have to tell you the next pay-per-view is, or the next big event is Winter is Coming. It's not a pay-per-view, but the next pay-per-view from Ring of Honor happens to be in Sammy Guevara's home in Texas.
He's not winning over Jericho, though.
You can still go to the event as a fan or even make an appearance.
Sammy Guevara, much like myself.
There is no way he is winning over Jericho.
God. Sammy takes home the title.
No, sir. I don't.
When he does,
over Jericho. Come on now.
When he does, my phone will be ringing, and I want to see this, and I want to hear, I acknowledge you, my king, not my tribal. The king is more than a tribal chief, more than a high chief, more than Kentucky Fried Chicken, more than anything. All right, there you go. Now let's get to the main event of Full Gear. All right, the main event, and then I'll ask you another question. The main event of Full Gear is Jon Moxley defending the title up against my close Jewish friend, Shana Tova, to Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's better than you, Giancarlo, and you know it, but you'll start this off.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are forgetting Jon Moxley before he won the title was supposed to be on vacation after All Out. So he extended his stay a little too long here. He got a nice contract extension, and I think after this pay-per-view, he's going to go on that vacation he planned from after All Out. So MJF, I think, wins the title. He'll have his celebration, and All Ego Ethan Page will be staring him down with the firm at the end of the pay-per-view, and they'll set up that win match. So I think MJF will have it. They're going to close off like they do with similar pay-per-views in the past, where there's going to be something that is getting them interested for the next show. So I think they have to hit on this one, because as we saw with the last one, everybody started talking about a press conference when MJF had a bigger pop than CM Punk in his own hometown.
By the way, Dynamite next week, day before Thanksgiving in Chicago. Go ahead, Martina.
I have to agree with you, Giancarlo. And I talked about this also on my forthcoming episode of The Slam. Make sure you check it out. I talked about this, that I agree. Great point that John Moxley was supposed to be on vacation anyway. And they have been, but I'm just going to say it. I feel like Tony made MJF wait so long for this title that if they don't have him to win, and it has to be a clean win. I don't think it can be a dirty win. It can't be his regular sneaky heel shtick. It needs to be a clean 1, 2, 3 pin. However, I am very, very confident that William Regal is going to help him. And so he is going to turn on Mox. His body language, his attitude, his little promos he's been, the jabs that him and MJF have been taking. I'm pretty sure he's going to diss MJF in some way. He did say he was a gentleman's villain. I see him turning and helping MJF. I think he might get assistance from more than just William Regal. I think he's definitely going to get some assistance, but I do think it is going to be a clean 1, 2, 3 pin. I think there's going to be a big celebration, and just like you said at the end, because what they say, you get to the top of the mountain, everyone is waiting to take you down. So if not Ethan Page, someone else is definitely going to be right there staring him down, like, oh, okay, you got it. Now it's my turn. I'm up next.
All right, so final question, and I know, Martina, you're going to go after this while me and Giancarlo do a Bellator preview, unless you want to stay for Bellator. But final question, I'll start off with you, Martina, here. There's always big surprises on AEW pay-per-views, not Premier Live events, AEW pay-per-views. All right? Giancarlo mentioned maybe Adam Cole. He's wrong. But because I'm going to say one name that nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about. Maybe I shouldn't even spoil it, because this is going to happen. This is going to happen. But, Martina, you first tell us, who can we see appear in AEW?
Does it have to be someone we've never seen before, or can it be someone returning?
Oh my God. You pick it, all right? You pick it.
Okay. Someone that has, went from having main event matches to being nowhere to be found. Well, there's many people. What about Miro? What about Athena? There's a lot of people that, like, where the heck are they? I don't know, to answer your question. I don't know who it's going to be, but I do feel like someone is going to come out to confront Jade after she beats Nyla. If it's not Athena, someone is going to come out or make an appearance, or maybe even interfere in the match. Someone that we have not seen in a while.
Giancarlo, that's wrong, by the way. Giancarlo, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to see Miro. He's one of the
That
most
could be
over
right.
guys on the roster, and I think they've really misused him since they signed him, and it was supposed
What
to
about
be like he's going to
Andrade?
be a main event guy. Yeah, Andrade too. That was
Andrade
another
suspended,
one.
though.
Miscast guy. I think Adam Cole, I'll stick with that one, but another one off the board, like Kenny Omega, let's say the Elite win, which probably is going to happen. I'd like to see maybe Will Ospreay come out and they set up a match for Winter is Coming, because they're going to try and build it up from now until then as this big episode. So I think that would make sense if they did that.
Oh my God. All I'm going to say is this. Who is Maxwell Jacob Friedman? He's my Jewish friend. Correct, Martina?
The devil?
No. He's my Jewish friend. So think about that. My other Jewish friend will be making an appearance. Now, I'm not going to say who it is, Giancarlo. If you probably know, but he'll make an appearance. I'll give you this. They're negotiating with him. It's a him. They're negotiating with him right now as we speak. They're negotiating with him right now.
Can we get a stronger hint other than him just being Jewish? Can we go a little bit deeper?
Does he have a streak?
Right.
Yes.
What's the first letter of the name?
No. Giancarlo, don't do it. If Giancarlo knows who it is, Martina, come on. Giancarlo, you give the initials even.
AG.
See, Martina,
Yeah,
we
God help the
cannot
roster.
go. We cannot go. We cannot go further than that. We cannot go
BG.
further. Yes, BG. Yes, she doesn't even know who we're talking about. All
Also
right.
connected with Bret Hart for
No.
a number of
Listen,
reasons.
Billy
listen. You
Gunn?
gave enough. You gave enough. Now, here it
Billy
is.
Gunn is a Jewish?
Billy Gunn is not
Yes,
Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn
that's
is
what,
there.
that's what I'm
What is going on? Oh my gosh.
That's why I'm
Oh my gosh.
confused.
Okay,
Like,
here. I'll even give you. You'll hear the chant, sort of chant, in a match, in a three-way match, at Full Gear. That's all I'm saying. Now, Martina, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you, while me and Giancarlo will discuss Bellator MMA, Bellator 288 coming tomorrow on Friday. Go ahead.
okay, I will still be trying to figure out who you're talking about. But you can find me.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Your hints are absolutely horrible.
Giancarlo
Horrible.
got it in 1 second.
Well, I didn't. So you said
Well,
he's a.
are you acknowledge Giancarlo first of all? Acknowledge.
I
Spear,
acknowledge you.
jackhammer, streak.
None of these are helpful. I need.
Oh
I
my
need. Gotta
gosh!
go.
Oh my gosh!
WCW.
All right. No, hold on.
WCW.
Stay on.
Go
After,
back.
stay on after the show here. Stay on. Or I'll just take you out. We'll give you the details later. But go ahead, tell everybody.
Okay, you can find me at Slam Host Martina. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you want to be. Follow my YouTube channel, Martina Talks Wrestling. Catch my show, The Slam. I am going to be, like you said, a part of Femme Friday, which is an all-female show lineup. And I'm going to be giving my full gear predictions to this. But no, let me finish. But it's a little bit more in depth, and it's all basically on this week's show. I was of giving their opinion. I was agreeing or disagreeing with them. So this is my first reaction style video. So check it out. Follow me, and I'm every week the Slam on Firedup Network. Follow me. Check it out.
All right, and check out the Slam part of Femme Friday tomorrow. Martina, just wait in the bullpen there. We'll get back to you in a second. Also, Bellator now. We're going to get to Bellator 288 happening tomorrow with the card. Giancarlo, it's from Chicago, the Wintrust Arena, home of AEW there. Let's get to some prelims that you want to talk about. Which bout do you want to talk about on the prelim?
Yeah, the only prelim bout that really sticks out to me is the headliner there. It's featherweight bout. They're Otto Rodriguez and Kashan Ashkabov. Like both these guys, I think this should have been on the main card, but I guess they're trying to get more views on YouTube for their prelims, which makes sense. So I think this will be a good one, but I do like the chances there of Kashan coming in and getting the win here and improving to 24-2.
All right, and there's no other prelim bout that you want to talk about?
Nothing that sticks out to me there.
Nothing. Okay, let's get to the main card. Which couple bouts do you want to talk about on the main card?
Yeah, the main event and co-main event are really interesting. We got the featherweight champion's brother, who's also the lightweight champion. Got Patricky Pitbull defending his title against Khabib's cousin Usman Nurmagomedov, who's also undefeated.
15
It's
and
going to be
0.
interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because they have the lightweight Grand Prix coming up next year that they announced, and both these guys will definitely be in there. It's just going to be who's going to be the champion in that Grand Prix. I like Usman Nurmagomedov's chances, and unfortunately for Pitbull, I think this is going to be a fight where he gets taken down, and I think Usman submits him probably in the second round.
All right, and then like you talked about, let's get to the main event there.
Yeah, this is the finals of the light heavyweight Grand Prix, a rematch. When they first fought, it ended up in a no contest or a draw because of a headbutt. So because there was not enough time to go to the judges, they didn't have a winner, and nobody got $1 million for that. So that technically didn't happen that fight because it was a no contest. They have to fight again. So I think I don't know. I like Nemkov's chances just because I liked how he performed in the first round, even though Corey Anderson came out in the second and really damaged him. Could have easily looked like he was going to go for a win there. But I think with Fedor and Vadim Nemkov's corner, looking what he did wrong, I think Nemkov's going to surprise people and he's going to win this tournament and get $1 million into his bank account.
Well, that's Bellator 288 happening Friday. The prelims begin at 6 p.m. Happens from Chicago. Just want to talk about UFC last week. So, were you surprised with the main event?
A little bit, but I wasn't too shocked because this is a guy who's beaten Israel Adesanya twice in kickboxing, and the second fight they fought, it actually looked similar. Israel Adesanya was beating him for most of the fight, and then Pereira knocked him out there, and it was similar here. Pereira had his moments in the early, and Adesanya on his way to winning because he took him down, wore him out. Pereira was exhausted going into the fifth round, but his corner gives him that speech, and he knocks out Adesanya. So looking forward, they're going to probably have a rematch most likely, and we'll see if Alex Pereira can go 4-0 against Adesanya.
And finally, John Jones. Sorry.
Hey, everybody, Andy McNamara.
1 second. I don't know what's, again, technical. But go ahead, John Jones.
Yeah, John Jones, probably 2023 we'll see him against Francis Ngannou. It's just Ngannou is still recovering from his surgery, and he still has to renegotiate a contract with the UFC. So they'll probably do that. I don't think the UFC will have their reigning champion go elsewhere and take other fights and other promotions. So I think they need to keep him. They'll make him happy. They'll give him his contract eventually. The cool heads will prevail, and I think they have John Jones and him. That's a big fight to make. I like it better than John Jones versus Stipe Miocic.
All right, Giancarlo, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at John_411, Instagram, Giancarlo_Alino. Check out my articles on firedupnetwork.ca and check out my MMA news articles on sportskita.com.
And don't forget to purchase AEW full gear, but if you're cheap like Giancarlo, check this out.
Hey, everybody, Andy McNamara with you. Who else is ready for this Saturday night, November 19th, for Full Gear All Elite Wrestling's massive pay-per-view? I know I am. And you're going to be able to order, if you're outside the United States, you can order in Canada, UK, lots of other places from Fight TV. My guys at Fight TV. Now, there are places where you cannot, so make sure your location applies. But Fight TV has you covered if you're outside the USA. And to say thank you for all your support with Fight TV, they were so kind to give me a free code to give away to you. One lucky person is going to be able to win the Full Gear AEW pay-per-view to see the World Championship John Moxley versus MJF, the Yocho Jericho defending the ROH title in a four-way battle. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus the returning Saraya. We have Tony Storm, the women's champ, the Acclaimed, the Tag Team. Lots and lots and lots of AEW action, the best wrestling in the world. So this is all you got to do. You go to Twitter, go to @firedupnet. Follow them. Follow me @AndyC81 and follow @FightTV. Retweet the tweet from @FiredupNet you see this video in and reply with your favorite AEW wrestler. Very easy, very simple, and you could win AEW's Full Gear this Saturday night. Don't you dare miss it.
All right, for Giancarlo, Martina, Andy McNamara, thank you. This has been the Wrestling Show on the Mat Wrestling Show, MMA, Bellator submissions, and maybe UFC on guard. Thanks a lot, Giancarlo. Well, that was Giancarlo, Martina, and Andy McNamara. By the way, check out Andy McNamara, Ultimate Fantasy Football Show, special time, 10 a.m. The Maple Leafs have just finished their game with the New Jersey Devils, and the Devils now are 11 straight victories. We're going to be joined by Marty Roberts right now. Marty, how you doing?
Joseph. I come over here to get ready for this show, and I missed the overtime of the Leafs jersey.
Wait a minute. You mean what show prep that you did you do? What
You
show
think
prep?
this comes naturally?
Well, it should, because this reminds me of a bar I go to every time I go to that bar. Go to the washroom, and you know what you see in that washroom? Scissor me, daddy-o! All right. So Marty, we're gonna do Maple Leafs forever, but you know what? You're also here for Blue Jays. Blue Jays. This yesterday, they made pulled off a trade, maybe surprising a couple of people with the trade and all that. Teoscar Hernandez getting traded to Seattle for two pitching. Well, one guy who's a sort of reliever, good reliever, and one guy who's up and comer. Do you think they got enough?
I think they do, only because you look at Teoscar's a free agent at the end of next year. So it's not like they're Teoscar could walk at the end of next year, and Seattle has nothing for the trade they made. Swanson is a nice ad. I really like Swanson. He was in a lot of high leverage situations for the Mariners, against top teams. He only tops out at 96, yes. But there was a stat I was reading that his velocity, when you're throwing the ball, usually as the closer the pitch gets to the plate, it slows up. And his tends to not slow up, they say. It stays basically 94 to 96 out of his hand all the way through. He's got a pretty good split finger and an okay slider. So I like this move. But if they don't sign someone or make another trade for someone to play the outfield, then it doesn't look as good, this move.
Well, this move, they're going to have to sign somebody, because let's face it, George Springer, center fielder, now they may be moving him to right field. Gurriel, there's some talk of maybe trading Gurriel also. So, what are they going to do is the question.
Yeah, I don't think they trade Gurriel. I really don't. I think it was probably either Gurriel or Teoscar. It was one or the other that was going to go, not both of them. Because if you send both of them out, you've now created a huge hole in the middle of your lineup hitting wise. Yes, both those two were not great defensively, and I looked at this with the Teoscar. I know a lot of people are ticked off with Teoscar going, but if you take out his 2021 stats. His stats look identical to Randall Grichuk, who we got rid of last year. And Grichuk at least we played better defensively, was a little smarter on the base pass. So to me, I think the Jays there got what they needed there, but I don't see them trading Gurriel as well. Unless something is to get another outfielder back at the same time, I can see that. But I don't think Atkins is done. Why did we lose the Seattle game? Outside of the bad decision to move Gausman out, the bullpen. Yeah. So now you've got Swanson there, who's a top guy. You got Garcia, Bass, Romano, that are still there. They're still going to get another arm. I don't know if are they going to sign someone else, or are they going to say Pearson is our guy in the bullpen?
Well, maybe Pearson is, but do you bet the farm on Pearson pitching more than 20 innings?
Well, and that's the thing, right? I've loved Pearson since he was drafted with the Jays, right? So I've always liked him. Injuries, unfortunately for him, have always caught up to him, but he's been looking really good in fall ball. I think it's in Mexico, striking out, I think 15 guys over 11 innings. He's looking really good. So if he can stay healthy, that's the big thing with him, health-wise. But here's the other thing. Are they grooming him to be that bullpen guy, or do they still want him to be a starter? That's going to be the question. I think we'll see if the Jays don't go and sign a starting pitcher. What their intentions are, is to try Pearson again as a starter.
Great segue here. Somebody named Alexis, special shout out to you. Alexis has a question. Do they need two relievers, or do they need two starters? That comes from Alexis.
I think they still need one more reliever in the pen, and I still think they need a starter in the rotation. I really do, just because.
Starters?
What's that?
Her question is: do they need two starters, or do they need two more?
No, I think they need one. They need one more starter in the rotation, because you already have Gausman, Manoah. Yeah. Brios is still going to be a good piece there. So if you get that one guy, and Brios is your four guy, you have solid four. Then that fifth guy, is it Pearson? Do you give Kikuchi another shot? I don't think, honestly, I don't know if they signed Stripling. I don't know if they do, because I think, to pay him $13 to $15 million a year, I think is a little bit of an overpay, if you ask me. I think they could
What
spend
would
that
you
out.
give him if you're not going to give him 13 to 15? What do
Eh,
you give him to put him in a Blue Jay uniform?
I think 10 is the most I'd give him on a 3-year deal. 30 million over 3 years is what I would give Stripling, and he could be that 5 guy. Kikuchi's the main guy. Like, what are they going to do with Kikuchi? I don't see him coming back and all of a sudden being lights out, because he never has been over his career. He's a 5 ERA guy. He
Do
could
you
be
put a
that.
lefty, a left-hander, Kikuchi is left-hander. Do you put him in the bullpen because they got Tim Mesa there and nobody else?
Yeah, you could move him there, but then again, you're in that problem of when a reliever comes in the game, he must throw strikes right away. He
Yeah.
doesn't have that leash of, he's got a couple innings to work with here and find. When he comes in, the game's on the line. There's runners on base usually, so he has to come in throwing strikes. Kikuchi has a problem with throwing strikes. If he can figure that out, hey, great. I just don't. It hasn't been the way he's done things over his major league career. So, I hope if they're still looking to sign a relief pitcher. I've said it before. There's 2 lefties out there, like it's Chaffin from Detroit and Rogers from Milwaukee. Those are 2 really good left-handed pitchers that have swing and miss stuff that can get both sides, righties and lefties out. So those are 2 guys I would check in on. Now you're looking at, what are the Jays going to do for filling Hernandez's role? Well, the Dodgers have till noon tomorrow to tender Cody Bellinger a contract. If they don't, he becomes a free agent. He might look at Toronto as a place to go and revive his career that struggled last year and the year before, where everyone knows you come to the Rogers Center, it's a hitting ballpark. There's no question about balls fly out there. So he can revive it. So even if it's on a 1-year deal, you get him in there. This is a former National League MVP, Rookie of the Year,
Well, that's my
Gold
question
Glover.
regarding the Rogers Center. Now, can you tell me, because nobody knows, with the renovations going on in Rogers Center, you're a pitcher. Is it more for pitcher friendly now, or is it even more home runs coming, less seats, better? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think they're moving the fences at all, so I don't think that's going to change. I really don't. There's not going to be anything that changes how the ball is hit in that ballpark. They're not raising the fences up. They're not lowering the fences. Everything's going to stay the same. So I don't see that changing at all. The look will be different. I don't see anything else other than that. So a guy like that coming over could benefit him, and it could, if he found what he had 2 years ago, that would be a big ad for the Blue Jays, right?
Yeah.
Big ad. This is a guy I think he's 27 years old. He's won many awards. Now we'll just see. Do the Dodgers do they not tender him? If it's me, it's pretty hard to not tender him a contract. To me, I'd be very surprised if they didn't tender him a contract, and he's still not a Dodger. But if he isn't, the Jays, Atkins better jump all over that and see if they can get him here, and maybe even on a 2 or 3 year contract to get him to Toronto, because I think he would do pretty good there, and that would take care of Hernandez leaving.
Yeah.
And what is he? A left-handed bat, which they look for.
And if he comes back to his years from past, there's 20, 25, 23 home runs, 80 RBIs.
Yeah,
that's equivalent to Teoscar anyways. And
not often you get to sign a former MVP. You really don't. Rookie of the Year. He was an NL MVP in the National League Series as well.
Yeah,
I like that. They're also in for the Mets, Nemo. That's another guy that could fill nicely. So there's some pieces here, and I don't think Atkins is done by far. I think he has a lot of work he's going to do here, and we're going to be surprised at what he looks at. Like, you got to look at this. Like, over the last 3 years, this Blue Jays team, as much as they made the playoffs twice, really, they've been a disappointment at the end of the year.
Exactly.
Losing to Tampa Bay, not making the playoffs in 21, and then last year losing to Seattle after being up 8-1.
So I'm going to ask you this: a couple things. Major League Baseball over the last couple of hours, even they announced that Texas is getting the All-Star game, and
Yep.
then next following year it's Seattle, and then 2025 Blue Jays or Toronto is in a mix with Baltimore.
Yep.
So and
I think
then
there's Baltimore, and I think the Cubs as well are in that
yeah,
mix. To
yeah,
me, it might go to Toronto only because they're doing the renovations to the Rogers Center,
exactly.
right?
That's
So
what I
2
wanted
years
to
down
say.
the road, this is pretty much done, the renovations.
Yep.
So I can see it coming to the Rogers Center. That'd be excitement. I think when was the last one was there? Basically when it pretty much
1991.
opened,
Yeah.
right? And that's when I think it was wasn't it was
Cal
it Prince
Ripken.
Fielder or
Cal Ripken
Cecil
won. Yeah.
that was
No.
hitting in home runs off the
Yeah.
top of the restaurant on a regular basis. So
yeah.
no, that'd be a nice
Cal Ripken was
get.
the MVP there. So Cal Ripken
Yep.
was the MVP. Now the other thing is, we talked about this last time you were on here, and last year even. Verlander wants a Matt Scherzer deal. Okay, so I'm going to ask you: Verlander can help the Blue Jays like crazy. Do you offer him 3 years? What is it? 130 million?
Nope. Once he said he wants Scherzer money, he wants $43 million, $44 million a year. He then dropped off my radar.
So
He's 40
which
years
radar
old.
is on it? Then is it the Mets and the Yankees?
I would say Mets, Yankees. Maybe he goes back to Houston. Maybe the Dodgers, Boston. I think $43 million for a 3-year contract for a guy who's 40 years old is a little bit much. I think I really do. I don't see. I'd rather spend my
Do
money
you give him
on
a 2-year contract then?
a 2-year. Still, you're looking at $90 million almost for that 2 years. That's an awful lot of money for a guy that, he's 40 years old. Like
Yeah.
he
But
could
he
wake
just
up.
won the Cy Young.
He did. You're right. He had a great year. But how much more does he have in the tank at 40 years old? Throwing at the same
He
caliber
just
he's
won
doing.
the Cy Young.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. To me, I wouldn't give him $43 million. Like if it was talking 30, 35 million, I'd look at it for a 2-year deal. To 3-year deal at the amount of money he wants, no. I think I'd rather put it on someone like a Rodon, a Bassett. Go after one of those two guys that are younger and like I said, I really like Rodon. I think he's a guy that the Jays should target. And you know what I think of Syndergaard? I think Syndergaard is a guy that you might be able to get on a 1-year, 2-year deal. Like it was kind of funny. I saw a post on Twitter of someone's posting a video of Syndergaard when he's throwing almost 100 miles an hour, and now when he's throwing 94. His mechanics were a little different. Things were happening different. And Syndergaard ended up showing up at this guy's pitching facility that put that video up. So Syndergaard's serious as to fixing what's wrong with his mechanics and why he lost that 4 or 5 miles an hour. So he might be a little surprise come next year.
I'm the one who said, now normally I don't do this, but I'm going to say this, and I want everybody who's watching and listening to this right now. Marty Roberts for baseball, for the awards, is batting 1,000. Marty, come on.
I'd stand up, but my back's sore.
Yeah, your back's sore. Okay, so
but we only need 2 more. We only need two more to be perfect, and that's I have Hyde for Baltimore's Manager of the Year, and I think he has a really good shot. It probably comes down to him and Dusty, right? That's who I'm thinking. It's those two that it comes down to, or maybe in Cleveland too. Yeah. But the shot I took was in the National League with Philadelphia and Thompson getting it there. I just don't know, did he coach long enough to get it? But I think he did a good enough job when he took over to get Philadelphia there to win it.
You did that pick with your heart, obviously.
Yeah. But, obviously the votes all have to be in before the playoffs start. So no one will look at, he took them to the World Series. It could go to Atlanta. It could over that way. It could go to a few managers, but so far so good. We're looking good. We'll see what else happens, right? Well, but I can't wait for this to start.
Not looking good is perfect. It's almost as good as me. Perfect. I'm perfect. All right.
Mr. Perf. But you know what? Like we said, there's still a long off season here to go with baseball. Not necessarily long, but for free agent signs, that there's still a couple months left, and things will start going. I think once you see the big names start dropping off, that's when the second tier guys figure out what their worth is. Okay, if Judge got 35 million, hey, I'm that second tier guy, so I should be getting somewhere around 30 million. Then you'll see signings start happening, and guys will start falling off the board. Yes, there's been a few that have signed already, but there'll be a lot more coming, and I think the Jays are nowhere near done. I think Atkins and Shapiro are a little bit tired of what's happened over the last few years. We saw with them getting rid of Charlie and bringing in Snyder. Now it's get rid of Hernandez. They're serious, I think, this year, knowing that they only have a short window now, like 3 more years, and Vlad and Bo
are gone. Yeah,
are free agents, so they'll have to think about signing them as well. So it's exciting. I know a lot of fans are upset with the Hernandez, and they're even more upset when they saw it wasn't a more, I guess, polished pitcher. Prominent. But they're going to be happy with Swanson. And the Mako kid, he's from Slovakia, moved to Calgary. Prospects are prospects. That's why they're a prospect. They could work out. They might not work out. But they at least have a good guy here. If he stays healthy, there's a chance the next couple of years you might see him up here with the Tiedemanns and stuff like that.
All right. Just a side note, with baseball, we concluded now. NFL here, 14-6. Tennessee leads Green Bay, and also, by the way, Marty, do you like to be in Buffalo or Detroit? Because the NFL, in their wisdom, have moved the Buffalo-Cleveland game instead of a major snowstorm and all that from Buffalo to Detroit, meaning nobody's talking about this. Only me, the president of the province of Canada, the number one guy, Fired Up Network here. Buffalo plays in Detroit against Cleveland on Sunday, 1 p.m. 4 days later, Buffalo plays in Detroit, Thanksgiving, against the Lions. Buffalo.
At least they won't have to go back home. They won't have to go back home. They get the rest.
Now, do they go back home or do they stay?
I think no. They'll stay. They'll stay in Detroit for sure. They'll stay in Detroit for sure. They won't come back, especially if there's going to be 3 to 6 feet of snow, like they're predicting in Buffalo.
Marty, but what do you do? What do you do if you're hit? You're my chauffeur. You drive me around with the limousine and all that. And by the way, you missed a tip. You owe Patricia, our lady driver, a tip, right? You missed that. Okay. So, but here it is, Marty. What do you do if you're 6 feet of snow?
You stay inside.
But if you have to drive. Have you ever drove the TTC bus when it's like a 6 feet snowstorm?
Okay. So last year when we had that huge snowstorm in Toronto, I was stuck on Wilson Avenue, did not move for 8.5 hours.
And did you get paid for 8.5 hours?
I still get paid, but did not move. The buses couldn't move. So that city will be shut down with that amount of snow. And it's at least they decided to move it already to get there. Because what? Let's face it. There's a few guys on the Buffalo Bills that aren't 5'5", so they might get stuck underneath the snow. And we'd never see them.
All right, let's not talk.
Here, one thing before we move on, Joe. I want to bring this up. Harper is having surgery next week on his elbow, which, if it is Tommy John, which they're thinking it is, he'll be shut down probably for the whole 23 season. So
and
here was
maybe half of 24.
Yeah, so, he didn't play. I think it was like sometime in mid-April he stopped playing the outfield because of the elbow. And so they'll have surgery next week. And then once they're in there, I guess they'll determine whether it's Tommy John needed. And if it is, he's done for 2023. And hopefully, it's not any longer than that.
And now here's you brought this up. I forgot to mention this. You said elbow. Springer had elbow chips and all that removed.
Bone chips.
So that you have to look at, because also with Springer there, he hasn't, when he played, he was playing great and all that, but he's the, lead off and gets everything going there. So,
yeah. Well, hopefully usually bone chips and that, once they take them out, you feel a heck of a lot better. The Tommy John is a lot different. It's a really a major surgery.
So
Yeah, it's a major surgery, and so I'm expecting Springer to make a full recovery, and he'll be better off for it. He'll be able to throw the ball without any discomfort, no pain. So we saw when Springer was swinging the bat how much pain he was in from his elbow. So that'll be gone. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to see what else the Jays do. Let's just hope that Twitter stays up long enough for us to keep watching and seeing if the Jays sign anyone.
Marty Roberts, Eric Cohen just chimed in here. He says if Marty Roberts goes perfect in his postseason awards prediction, he's going to bring you a red wine, a red bottle of wine, sweet wine, red bottle of sweet wine.
Red bottle. I don't drink.
You
wine.
like red wine, Marty?
I don't drink wine. If I do, I think it's white. I'm not a wine drinker.
What do you mean?
My wife is a wine drinker.
Do you drink Molson?
I drink Coors Light and
Let's not talk about this already. All right, let's get to this. Is Maple Leafs Forever Leafs talk. All right, Marty.
You started on the baseball, Joseph. I'm just following where you go.
I give you credit.
You're the ringleader. I follow you.
Okay, you're Mr. Perfect. Like Dave Steve's book, Tomorrow Will Be Perfect. Maybe tomorrow you'll be perfect.
Maybe. Probably not, though.
Yeah, probably not. That's right. At least you know it. All right, the Maple Leafs, you already killed it. You missed the overtime game-winning goal by New Jersey. But can you believe this? New Jersey, 11 straight games. New Jersey, we're not talking about your team, Pittsburgh. We're not talking about Vegas. We're not talking about Colorado. We're talking about the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, you know what? For the time I watched, I probably watched a period and a half of it. They looked really good. They really did. Defensively, they were clogging up the passing zones. They were very fast. They were quick. Hughes looking really good. Averaging more than a point a game this year. Man, I wouldn't have thought that they would be where they are, but they might be a team that isn't going to fall down here too much, and they're going to stay right up at the top because that team, they're fast, young. They just looked really good again tonight. They didn't take any shifts off. They took the lead, then they lost it, and they came back and they won in overtime. And you know what? It probably could have been a lot worse for the Leafs if Murray didn't make a few big saves.
Yeah, he was good. He's been good.
Right? He looked good against Pittsburgh. We knew that would probably happen because that's his former team. But playing back-to-back games and playing good in back-to-back games and pretty much looking like he's healthy, that's a good sign for the Leafs. But it's a bad sign that the Leafs just can't seem to get on a roll yet.
And the guy, Austin Matthews, did score the only goal. It was a nice goal set up and everything like that. But Maple Leafs, if they're going to do something, they got to win these games. They got the best attack, okay? Like on paper, Marner, Matthews, Tavares, we don't have to go. But the defense has been playing the last, I don't know, maybe 5-6 games, very tight and very good. And they with, if you look at Muzzin being down and a couple guys, so these rookies, Liljegren, Sandin, and all these guys coming up and playing good. So now the offense, it's like the old story. When you click, the offense clicks, but the defense. Now it's the defense and the goalie, but the offense. And
with Sandin and Liljegren, I really like Sandin, but you can see over the last few games they're playing a little tight. They're trying not to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And Sandin had 3 or 4 giveaways today. Liljegren looked a little shaky too. Yes, they have to get that out of the way. They're relatively young in this league. The problem, we talked about this last Leafs game. I guess 2 would be ago when they played the Penguins at home. The giveaways, they gave away the puck again 23 times tonight again. You're not going to win many games, turn the puck over 23 times. That's just too many times that they're giving it away and making it an easy turnover for the opponents. And they have to tidy that up and not make those bad some of them are really bad giveaways too. They're not just a giveaway where it's in a corner. No, it's out in front of the net where they turn it over and it turns into a good scoring chance, right? So they have to tidy that up. I believe they were out hit again tonight by New Jersey, 30-23. So I don't know. New Jersey's looking good. I'll give them that. I didn't never thought about that. Never. Lindy Ruff,
Yeah.
he's looking like he's the brainiac over there now, isn't he?
11 in a row. That means 22 points in the bank. 22 points in the bank already. And by the way, the Maple Leafs next game is Saturday, I believe, against the Buffalo Sabres. And Buffalo has fallen off. They started good, and this is what they do every year. They start well. Tage Thompson is amazing. We got to give it.
Yep.
Skinner's been playing well and all that. But again, they start well and then they fade, and fading already in November. That's like, but it should be interesting to see, because you know where I'm going with this one, Marty. They say the NHL season does not pick up till after Thanksgiving, U.S. U.S. Thanksgiving is next week. Could we see a bunch of trades and everything? Because U.S. Thanksgiving is the quarter mark of the NHL season, basically 20, 25 games around there. So do you think, Dubas shakes something up here, or some team shakes something up?
No, I don't know if the trades will happen this early. I really don't, unless there's two teams that just want to get rid of some players that it's just not working out. But I don't see it happening right now. I think it'll be a little close to the trade deadline, maybe even obviously after Christmas type deal. But there's going to be some moves that happen, but it's all going to come down to cap. Some of these guys have cap space now because of guys on the IR. Now, if those guys come off the IR, then they have another cap issue, right? So they have to wait and see. Like Muzzin, Muzzin's probably going to be out for the rest of the year. So they got his 5.6 or 5.7 million there. It sucks with Muzzin. I feel bad. He probably should have truthfully not played last year. Maybe this year he would have been a little bit better off. But it's those are injuries that, once you're done playing, you want to be able to walk around still and do stuff. If you can't, was it worth it? I don't know if it was.
Well, interesting thing about Muzzin, and I'll tell you this. I was speaking to a Maple Leaf player today, and he said Jake Muzzin is actually like the captain of the Maple Leafs. He was around practice. He's not traveling with the team, but he's a presence in that locker room. So just a side note, I know Tavares wears the C, but really, from what this player told me, Jake Muzzin is like the unofficial captain of the Maple Leafs, and hopefully a speedy recovery to Jake Muzzin. Now, another thing, I don't know if you saw it today, the Dallas Stars goalie, all right, was stretchered off the ice today. Dallas, I believe,
and it looked pretty harmless. It looked hard. He made the save with the legs sort of laid out, and he obviously tweaked something in his back that is not good if you got to be stretchered off, right? So,
and the goalie back, that could be a critical spot.
Yeah, it's injuries are part of the game. That's yes, it when you're going in. You know that you're going to play. You're going to get injured. It's just hopefully by the time when you're done and retired, you can still walk and know your own name once you're done. That's the goal, right? You want to all the money they've made, they want to still be able to have a life after they're done, because they're still, all these guys when they retire, they're still pretty young. Their families are young. They get to hang out with them. It would suck for some of these guys not to be able to hang out with their families if an injury made it that they can't walk around or they can't remember things, right? So that's what people don't see. They see the big paychecks. They don't see all the toll they take on their body and what can happen after their playing days are done. And we've seen a lot of them. Like NFL's very big for that. After they're done, a lot of them take their own lives because of concussions and stuff like that they've had. So it's tough. And hopefully when these guys are all done playing, they're all healthy enough and able to do whatever they want to do after.
A couple more minutes with the grizzled young veteran Marty Roberts.
Hey, wait a sec. Hey, look at the mustache. It came in nice, eh? You notice I shaved the goatee. I had to show the mustache off a little bit more.
All right, hold on. I'm going to zoom it. Producer,
Zoom it. Look at that. Woo!
Yeah, I think you shaved the goatee. It's Movember. You're not supposed to shave the goatee.
The goatee, I can't shave the mustache. The goatee, I shaved just to show the mustache.
And what? You keep the mustache for Movember when you have the goatee?
No, I'll get rid of the goatee until the end of November, and then I'll bring it back in.
So Marty, rate my mustache here.
Yours is more like a Chia Pet mustache.
Chia Pet mustache. Come on. All right, Marty. A couple more minutes. So I don't know if you know this, but there's a big thing happening Sunday, the World Cup in Qatar. I know I'm not asking you about soccer. We'll get to that in a second. But there's also the Grey Cup happening in Saskatchewan, where the weather is going to be minus 13 Celsius and snow. Snow, snow, snow. The Argos play the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the 109th Grey Cup. Marty, you were around for all of them. So this one, this one is special, all right? The Argos. Now, if the Argos pull up the upset, are you going to be part of the 12 people that are going to be in the parade?
The parade. You know what? That's the one thing about the Grey Cup. It's always played at a time of year that a blizzard could happen. It's freezing cold out there. I think that's what makes the CFL so exciting for their Grey Cups. Like the Super Bowls, you very rarely see them out of a warm climate and not in a dome. Like, could you imagine if it was Buffalo they were playing in February and there was 6 feet of snow?
Yeah, they'll move the game to Detroit in a dome.
Right, exactly. So that's what I like about the Grey Cup. That's, it's played at that time of season. I think, honestly, what's Winnipeg won? 2 in a row?
2 in a row, yeah.
I think the Argos upset them. I really do. I think
really?
the Argos.
Marty Roberts coming.
I think the Argos upset them. And the only reason why is because I'm pretty sure we heard Long John Eric Cohen say that he was taking Winnipeg. So I'm taking the Argos just because Eric's going Winnipeg.
Wait a minute. He was going to give you a red bottle of wine.
Well, he'll give me a white bottle and a red bottle after the Argos win.
So wait a minute. Hold on. We got a bet here. Do you want to bet Eric Cohen? Listen. All right. I'll speak for Eric Cohen. I know this guy has all bottles of wines. He goes there and he's a connoisseur of wine collecting it for $20. All right. I'll bet. I'll put it up there. He says Winnipeg. You say the Argos. If he wins, what do you give him? If he loses, he'll give you a bottle of wine.
I will give him a hat for a cold winter day to cover the head of his.
Really? A hat? What type of hat? Come on.
I'll give him the TTC toque.
The TTC toque. And how famous is that?
It's Do you famous have when I wear it
around there or what?
When I wear it, it's famous.
All right. So that's Sunday. You're picking the Argos over Winnipeg in the 109th Grey Cup. Marty Roberts, do I even ask you who you're picking for the World Cup?
Wow, I was seriously, honestly thinking, as much as I don't watch soccer, I think Team Canada's plus 300 to win it all.
You're not going to bet Canada.
I was thinking, well, United States is 150. I'm like, you know what? Maybe Canada somehow sneaks something out here and gives me a shot, and it at least gives me a reason to watch the World Cup.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with Team Canada.
I will tell you right now, I will not be up at 5 a.m. to watch any of the games.
No, Team Canada don't play at 5 a.m. But
I will leave that to my good friend Carm.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. 1986, the only other time that Team Canada qualified for the World Cup, the games were in Mexico. They did not score a goal. They did not win. Not only, I'll bet Alexis. I'll bet Patricia. I'll bet Marty Roberts. I'll bet Eric Cohen's Long Johns. By the way, those Long Johns, really good. Eric Cohen's always telling me he models them for
hopefully the lights are off when he's modeling it.
That's it. All right. Not only will Canada score a goal this World Cup, they will win a match. 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 And like I said, I'll bet Patricia. I'll bet Alexis. I'll bet Marty Roberts. I'll bet whatever. Now,
I'm going to talk to the coach first before I make any decisions on who I'm going to bet. Carmen can tell me who is my lock.
This is going to be, I'm telling you, you want to find out? Marty Roberts tomorrow. I know you don't watch it, but this is a must-watch TV. Nobody, no independent company has this. The Soccer Show World Cup 2022 Qatar Preview with myself, Giancarlo Lino, the Hall of Famer John Freeman Nelson, the coach Carmen Asako, media icon from Telo Latino Alf de Blasis, and a Team Canada soccer player who's going to play in the World Cup. I won't tell you who it is yet, but tune in 11:30 tomorrow. Must see TV. Marty, what do you say?
Of course, it's must-see TV. I watch it for about 30 seconds all the time just to see the smiling faces on there, to see if Carm's sitting in a black room when he's talking. I watch it for a little bit. Then I shut it off.
All right. Well, you're going to watch it.
But you're right. Top of the drawer stuff with the soccer show on Fridays.
All right. And also, Marty, if you don't know, now you know.
There's more?
Friday, yes, tomorrow, not only the soccer show, but we have Femme Fridays. Femme Fridays are back tomorrow afternoon. The ladies of the Fired Up Network Female Empowerment Movement have their say 2 hours of original programming. Wait, we're not over. We're not finished yet. Saturday, we're going to do probably a pre and post game of the Maple Leafs Buffalo Sabres if it's not stowed in. All right. And then Sunday, you saw him, the Ultimate Fantasy Football Show, special start time, 10 a.m. Marty, free pizza.
I didn't get my free pizza. I'm very disappointed.
Did you even qualify?
I thought I qualified.
Wait a minute. Oh, we have another question. Who's this? Alexis wants to know pineapple on pizza.
You know, I used to like pineapple on pizza. I really did.
What do you mean
Then
you used to?
I used to. I don't know why. I just don't like pineapple on my pizza anymore.
Eric Cole wants to know wine on pizza.
He doesn't eat the pizza. He just drinks it off. He squishes it and drinks it.
So special start time for the Ultimate Football Fantasy Football Show with Andy McNamara, 10 a.m. And then later on in the night, day one post-game coverage of the World Cup. Then on Monday, we're going to do midday update with Anthony Kay, and then day two coverage of the World Cup. Every day after the games, all games are played, we're going to have coverage of the World Cup here on the Fired Up Network. Marty, any last comments?
Yeah, I feel bad for Anthony that he still is a Chicago Bears fan. My Washington football team, victorious. I remember I heard you on here, Joe. Don't think I didn't hear you think that, Philadelphia is going to beat the daylights out of. I heard you say that. I heard you say that.
Wasn't me.
They're going to lose to Indianapolis to fall. I heard you say that.
Hold on. To be fair, this is what happened. I did say it because I was listening to that Long John wearing, wine drinking, beer guzzling, Eric Cohen. All right. Notice Eric's losing more hair. All right. That's all I'm saying. I listened to him. He influenced me. That will never happen again.
It was a bad influence. Like the amount of money you could have made on that Washington.
Did you
win.
Did you make it? Did you?
You know what? I lost my money on the Chicago Bears. So I was looking so good, and then I'm like, what the heck just happened here?
Marty, since I'm giving shout-outs to everybody, do you have any shout-outs to give?
I've given all my Anthony, Carm, Eric. I'm giving out shout-outs all over the place.
Yeah, but somebody not on the network that maybe was on the network that's not on the network,
No.
No, all right. So we're not doing shout-outs, all right? But we're doing tell everybody. And by the way, I was especially talking to my good friend Tyler, who's a big Pittsburgh Penguin fan, right? He was telling me Pittsburgh is they're just not gelling, right? And maybe we should get Tyler on here to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Do you agree with Tyler? They're not gelling?
Yeah, they definitely have an issue. It's Jari, is he injured? Is he not injured? Like he's in tonight, and again, he's given up 3 goals on 18 shots. You're not going to win when your goalie is not playing good. Like I've told you, I think Crosby might be a little hurt, but then he goes tonight and he has 2 goals and an assist. So they're up 4-3. They jump out always early, and then they just some reason or another, teams come back and they beat them. So Jari, I think, is a big issue. If he's not playing the way he was last year, this could be a long season for the Penguins. And then, like you're saying, trades. Do they look to trade for a goalie then at trade deadline? I don't know if they do or not.
But is there any good goalie out there?
Right,
Do
that's
they
the
make
thing.
that worry?
And if anyone has a good goalie, do they want to trade him? Probably not, because that's where it has to start, is in net, right? So, like, I don't know. Like, it's something has to happen in Pittsburgh. They got to get in a roll. You can't ever say a Pittsburgh team is done when they have still Crosby, Malkin, Letang in their lineup, right? With Gensel, Rust has looked pretty shaky. Zucker's still, Zucker's doing all right. I've mentioned before. I think he could be a guy that's traded at trade deadline time. But the kid might be right. They're not gelling. They're not looking as a cohesive lineup. So we'll see. A long year to go. We've already saw Buffalo drop down the standings. Our other team's going to start dropping down the standings, and the top teams start moving back up. We'll see. Like New Jersey, as much as I say, I don't, they looked really impressive tonight. What happened? Like once they do go in a little bit of a slump, can they find their way out of it? So we'll see.
All right, Marty. So last comment here. Eric Cohen wants to know, what do you want for Christmas?
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, he wants to.
I want him to give me some of those Blue Jay tickets he gets every year.
All right, so here it is. He says Winnipeg. If Winnipeg loses, he'll get you a red sweet wine, and a pair of Blue Jay tickets.
Can he get me some Taylor Swift tickets?
Marty, I was going to tell you, I got some.
Did you see what happened there? People were in the queue. Like my wife was in the queue for 7 hours.
For 7 hours?
It went down. She had to go back into the queue. And when she got in, there was, I think, a ticket in Detroit for like $800 she could get.
I'm just interested in A Boogie with a hoodie tickets. Do you ever get that guy?
No. But I am going in March 12th to be exact, to see Journey at the Scotiabank Arena. I have floors. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Journey,
here's the thing. If you buy the tickets early enough, like I was telling my wife, you can get we got ours for $125 each on floors. Now they're up to $190 each.
Marty, can I ask you something? Do you stop believing or what?
I always believe.
You always believe. All right.
Always believe. Always believe. Two things. That song and Sopranos go hand in hand.
That's Sopranos.
The Sopranos.
All right. So you're telling me you didn't get Swiftie tickets? Well, Marty,
my niece got one ticket in Nashville. So her deal was she was going to go to Nashville, Tampa.
Here it is.
Yeah. That's the ticket. Yeah. That's the speeding ticket you got today going through the red light.
Printed tickets. Here it is.
Tickets, That's why it has Marty, a converter on the other side of it.
Give me a price, and we'll go Swiftie. She'll be give me
the Bell converter box.
Give me your favorite Taylor Swift song.
What's her song? What is there? What's that one song? I saw the police officer doing the video that went viral. Man, I forget what it is. All I know is that my niece loves her, goes to any concert she can for her. She bought one ticket in Nashville, and she's going to go to Nashville to watch it, and that's good for her. She's going to enjoy it. Nashville, she wanted to go to 3 places, Nashville, Tampa, and one other spot, and she's going to go just travel with one ticket. She's just buying one ticket.
Maybe this is a friend of yours, but Alexis, all the time here, he's saying, why don't you know A Boogie with a hoodie?
I don't know what A Boogie with a hoodie.
Why? Why don't you know A Boogie with a hoodie?
I don't know, because I'm a sheltered human being. I don't go out unless it's for work.
By the way, as we close this out, fourth quarter now, Tennessee leads Green Bay 20-17. Good game Thursday night football here. All right, Marty Roberts, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you. He's playing music now. You stay up too late. You got nothing on your brain. Ain't that the truth? That's what people say. Everybody says it. Yes. Now he's dancing. Come on, Marty.
See?
Come on. It's December 31st. Come on, show the moves on New Year's Eve. Come on.
I'll show my moves. Don't you worry. My move will be as soon as that clock hits 12, I'm in bed.
That's right. And with your red bottle of wine.
That's right. And my long johns.
That's right. All right, Marty, go ahead.
Oh, Lefty22, Twitter, Instagram. Follow me there.
And don't forget, fans, check out tomorrow. I urge you to check out tomorrow the soccer show, 11:30 a.m. Myself, Giancarlo Lino, Carmen Asako, John Nelson, Alf de Blasis, and a Team Canada soccer player. I know who it is. I'm not going to say it till you tune in tomorrow. Nobody, and I'm serious.
But nobody.
See, come on, Marty, do it. All right, nobody independently.
Nobody.
Hey, did you go to Best Buy yet, or what?
No, that's Bad Boy.
Bad boy.
Bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Thanks a lot, everybody. Stay tuned for more great programming here.
Watch tomorrow, 11:30 soccer show.